In Miss Washington, like that go.
Well, good morning.
Hi, Sandy Saffel. This is Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, good.
How many people are you expecting?
Maybe 100?
Woo! I found a Girl Scout t-shirt to wear from 1983.
Good morning. My name is Renee Smock. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Girl Scouts Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. Welcome to our 2023 annual meeting and our third Legends ceremony. We will start our meeting out today with a flag ceremony from Troop 6045. And we are very honored to have with us Miss Spokane 2023, Noelle Anderson, to sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Powering on. Welcome to All Tech Lansing.
Girl Scouts post the colors. Thank you, Miss Spokane, for honoring our flag with that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. And now we are honored to begin the 2023 Legends ceremony.
In 1912, the first volunteer, a legend of our movement, Juliet Gordon Lowe, saw something in girls, all girls. She exclaimed, "I've got something for girls of Savannah, for all America and the world. We are going to start tonight." And she watched the girls shine by lighting their inner light in each and every one of them, believing in them and knowing that they could make the world a better place by courage, confidence, and character. Her dream materialized into a movement when the next Juliet came along to point the way of our girls trailblazers. Today, 111 years later, the Council of Washington, or Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho, honors all volunteers for their selfless sacrifices. The torch that Juliet lit is one carried by our 1,500 volunteers, and our movement shines forth.
Good morning, Council of Distinction. Thank you for being here for our third Legends Ceremony 2023. And that was a beautiful rendition. So thank you, Ms. Spokane. And thank you to Ashley Newbill's troop for leading us in this Legends Ceremony, and for Ashley reading the words honoring Juliet. We also honor over here Dana Albert. Dana, this wall was dedicated to in our first Legends Ceremony 2 years ago for all that she did to build our council up, because we know that girls volunteers are the heart of our movement. In fact, next week on Monday, very soon, we're having a regional product sales conference where we'll have representatives from all different councils in the Pacific Northwest come here to our council to see what we're all about and to learn about product sales for 2024. But you know what? The room that they're going to be in, they're going to walk by every time is this, and they'll see that we put volunteers first. Today, we're here to honor our legends of 2023. Before we honor them, I just want one more shout out to the legends of the last 2 years. Susie Fisher, Dusty, Linda Hurley, who passed away this year. May she rest in peace. We will never, ever forget you, Dusty, and all that you did for us in the northern part of our council. Diane McDuff, who continues to be a legend for us each and every day. Thank you, Diane, for all that you did to establish our gold scholarship this year. Pam Westfall, who continues to do great things for us in the Lewiston area and across our council. Sue Asplin, who's the heart of Walla Walla, and we appreciate all that you do as well. And certainly Marie Clark out in Yakima. Marie, I met your mayor yesterday, and she is a wonderful lady, and she very much reminds me of you. I very much appreciate all those volunteers, and you will always, always be legends of our council. So today, we are ready to honor those who have the inspiration, the wisdom, and the strategic vision to make us a council of distinction. And with that, I now turn it over to our girls, who will introduce our 3 newest legends. Scouts, over to you.
Lynn Baird. Hi, my name is Sophia. Lynn Baird. Lynn Baird has been a lifetime Girl Scout for 4 decades, inspiring others to follow in her footsteps in northern Idaho. She has been a mentor and friend to so many that upon telling of her legend status, the whole room flocked to give her a hug. Lynn is beloved in her Moscow community for carrying Juliet's torch of service to Girl Scouts. Lynn's inspiration is beyond her community, as she is a 2-time delegate for our council and has also been an alternate for National Council session as well. Most noteworthy, Lynn led the delegates for the first ever virtual National Council session due to the pandemic and endured 33 hours of Zoom, where she motivated the delegation team to stay engaged through it all. A testament to her dedication, Lynn's true love is to the youngest among us, and she is still a true leader for daisies. Lynn is a legend because Girl Scout flowers with her love of the movement. She is a legend of Girl Scout enthusiasm. Hi, my name is Peyton. Janice Rader. Janice Rader is a lifetime Girl Scout helping sculpt our movement for the good of Sandpoint for several generations. Her dedication is deep, doing most service unit jobs over the years and filling in to help when not officially tasked with these responsibilities. As Lions president, Janice inspires the Lions to be there for Girl Scouts even uses the Lions clubhouse as the main cookie cutter. Janice is a trainer, she is a mentor, and she is a friend of every Girl Scout leader in Sandpoint. Janice is a shining light in the north part of our council and is a North Star in more ways than one. During the height of the pandemic, Janice provided a strength to our council that kept us Girl Scouts strong. Janice is a legend because her contributes are timeless. Her day camp is iconic in our council. She has recruited leaders to keep it running summer after summer, giving Girl Scouts adventure after adventure at Camp Stidwell. Janice is a legend because she makes us believe. Hi, I'm Macy. Frankie Meters. Frankie Meters is a lifetime Girl Scout for over 30 years, giving her all to keep our movement strong through some major challenges in the southern part of our council. If education is the best weapon to make our world a better place, Frankie has been on our top general, staying focused on keeping adult education relevant and on point through countless staff changes. Frankie has influenced countless numbers of leaders in the Tri-Cities area to inspire them to give their all for their Girl Scouts. Her background in Girl Scouts has led to numerous timeless lessons she happily passes on for the betterment of all. Frankie is a legend because her strong convictions and faith in the movement allowed her the strength to overcome some difficult merger challenges in 2008 and work with her colleagues to keep education a shining light for leaders in her area. She is a legend of Girl Scout knowledge.
Congratulations to our newest legends. Thank you very, very much to Ashley Newbill's troop for their incredible work today to honor our legends. We are a girl-led organization and we will always put our girls out front to honor. So today, three new legends who shaped our council to be the council of distinction it is today. Lynn Baird, our second Idaho Girl Scout, started in 1985 and continues today to be a Daisy troop leader. Amazing. She's right now in the Caribbean on a cruise ship. And so she's not able to accept her award in person, or none of them are accepting the award in person, but she's not able to be here with us today. But she was so touched by this honor. I was down there with Tirza and Maddie, staff members, and we gave her the surprise way back in February on a very snowy night, very different from today's very hot conditions. But she was so touched. She sent me a note the next week that said, this was the greatest honor of her life. And we appreciate Lynn for all that she did. To each of the members here, we're going to give them this plaque. And it is made of marble to represent the strength, the foundation that they give to each of us. So Lynn, out there on the high seas, congratulations to you. We appreciate all that you've done, not only for Moscow, but for this council, being a delegate for us twice to National Council session. And certainly there we have Janice Rader, who has been there through thick and thin. And if you ever want to see how to do a day camp, you go up to Sandpoint, and there's no one that knows how to tie-dye better than Janice Rader. But she is the energy of Northern Idaho, our third volunteer from Idaho, who has made such a difference and really stood strong for us during that pandemic year of 2020, when cookies were very much a challenge, and said, Brian, you sleep. We got this. We're going to get rid of these $600,000 cookie or 600,000 cookies. I promise you. And we did. And I appreciate all that Janice does for us, even through a tough year, as we had a loss of our service unit leader, Darcy, up there. Janice stood strong and continued us going. Thank you, Janice, for all that you do. I'm hoping that you're out there right now. I didn't have a chance to check signals with you, but I'm going to come to you here in a second, Janice, if you're able to unmute and give a few words for the council. We will get this up to you as well for you to congratulate you for all that you do. And your plaque, of course, will be hanging on the wall. And our final legend, Frankie. As it said in there, Frankie is our general of education. She, working with the Effect team, working with Diane McDuff and so many others down there through our merger and all the other things, has kept education as a centerpiece for volunteers to make them better. She is our teacher's teacher, and she does so much to make us a council that respects education, that drives it. And we appreciate Crystal and all the others who came before her, Margot, to make education central to what we do. Frankie, that night I was able to honor you way back in February. I never saw a smile so big. I know you make a difference for this council, and I hope you realize how much that difference is and continuing to be a light for us throughout our areas with your education focus. You too, I'll ask you to come on scene. The bottom line on the matter is, to each three legends out there, on this plaque is our most famous quote of all: the work of today is the history of tomorrow, and you are its makers. As legends, I dare say you make history every day. Congratulations to you, legends of 2023. If we're able now, as I depart the scene and go jump on Zoom, if we're able to go fully on Zoom right now, and Janice, if you're able to unmute as I come on, I would just like to turn it over to you to make a few words on where you sit and how you love this movement. Congratulations, legends. Over to you, Janice.
Thank you so much, Brian. I truly appreciate the honor. It has been an honor serving in our Girl Scout Council, and I truly appreciate the honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janice. Frankie, I appreciate you, Janice. And again, anytime I need a smile, I just need to come up there and see there. And again, congratulations to your Gold Girl Scout, Goldie out there, who's got the best name for a Gold Girl Scout there ever could be. Frankie, are you online today? Frankie, are you out there? Diane, are you online by chance? Diane McDuff?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to just go ahead and say a few words on behalf of Frankie? I know you've been in touch with her and you nominated her.
Well, Frankie's been special for a long time. We were in Legacy Mid-Columbia Council together, and now it's the combined council. She has been the lead for basic outdoor training for forever. And has been also a heavy proponent of traditions training. She's been able to do program aid training, just so many different pieces about that. And she's always finds people who can help make it happen that way. So just her enthusiasm and longevity in the movement has been really special.
It really has. Well, thank you, Diane, for representing her. Again, Lynn is out, and we will continue to make sure that we stay in touch with all three of you as you continue to be a light. And as I said, once a legend, always a legend. And that's what you three ladies are. Thank you very much for being here. That concludes the Legend Ceremony for 2023. We look forward to honoring all 9 of these women. And just remember, each of you volunteers out there are legends in your own right for making our council a council of distinction. Nancy, over to you to gavel open our 2023 annual meeting.
Thank you so much. We were on mute and we didn't know even how to unmute us. We're in the boardroom. And so thank you to Renee to come running in to unmute us. So good morning. I'm Nancy Pike, and I want to thank Brian and those wonderful girls to honor and congratulate our 3 newest legends. I'm thrilled we can honor our long-term volunteers that have gone beyond for so many years. Now it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 2023 annual meeting. As you know, I'm Nancy Fike, Chair of the Board of Directors of the Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. But before jumping into the meeting, a brief reminder on some housekeeping rules that kind of, we've already broken. Anyway, we'd like everybody to, please, they're up on the screen, but I'll just quickly go through them. To please remain muted throughout the meeting, just to eliminate even any background noise. And even though we want to all be verbal during our Girl Scout promise, we'll stay muted during that so that it reduces other noise. If you have a question or if you're wanting to contest the slate of officers or a proposal, please submit your questions in the chat box or raise your hand. Please do not use the chat box for discussion until the open session with our CEO presents his report. If anytime you need any help or anything, just email one of the staff or text one of the staff and they'll be able to help us. And as a favor, if you could take a picture of yourself and your Girl Scout and send it to Lori Massey, we'd like to make a collage of this wonderful event so that we have a history of what's going on of today's work. So Lori is chatting her email in the chat box right now. And if you could send that picture to her, that would be great. So we can have it for future reference. And finally, we're putting our 2022 annual report in review in the chat, review at your leisure to see what a wonderful, fabulous year we had. I hope you enjoy this meeting. And now I will officially gavel the meeting to order for the Council of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho 2023 annual meeting for business. Having opened with the legend ceremony and honoring our flag, we will now have the Girl Scouts say our Girl Scout promise. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Girl Scout Ambassador Sophie Henderson from Lewiston, and I'm sure almost all of us know Sophie, our top entrepreneur for the last few years, to recite the Girl Scout promise and law. Please recite them in your space as well, but leave your microphones muted. Sophie?
Thank you. Okay. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout.
As you know, I'm coming to the end of my 2 years as board chair, but one of my wonderful treasures is having the opportunity to get to know Sophie and her family. They have been remarkable to our Girl Scout family. So congratulations, Sophie, and look forward to hearing about you in the future and your future ventures. Thank you so much. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce a video presentation from our new CEO, Bonnie Barkowski. She is a decade-long veteran of Girl Scouts, having served since 2012 as CEO of Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri Council. During her tenure, Ms. Barkowski and her board built a compelling strategic vision that expanded access for girls across the region, transferring program experiences and engaging community partners. As part of her strategic vision, she led a 50 million Her Future is Our Future campaign to fund capital projects, scholarships, programs, and organizational endowment. We welcome this video from our new CEO.
Hello, Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. I am Bonnie Barchikowski, CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA, and I'm happy to join you virtually. Congratulations on another incredible year of Girl Scouting. I want to first thank your council leadership team, volunteers, delegates, board members, and all Girl Scouts for taking part in this annual meeting. A big thank you also to your board president, Nancy Fike, and CEO, Brian Newberry, for the courageous leadership they have shown as they steered your council through this past year. I know you've just wrapped up another cookie season, and I'm so thrilled to hear your Girl Scouts sold over 1 million packages of cookies, the most ever in a single year. You weathered 2 cookie seasons under pandemic conditions with grit and determination and came back strong. And the results of your cookie season mean more life-changing experiences for Girl Scouts across Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. Membership at your council also remains strong. With a membership goal of 4,000 for the year, you grew to 3,600 just a few weeks ago. During the pandemic, you experienced a decrease, and now you're up 9% this year. And your retention numbers are amazing. Overall retention is at 77%. These are incredible numbers. It's been a great year for your council, and I know that in June you are excited to open an aerial adventure park called Savannah Summit at your camp, complete with rappelling and zip lines. What a great, challenging, and fun experience for your Girl Scouts. A huge thank you to your staff and volunteers for the commitment and resilience you have all shown as you've risen to the challenges of the past few years. Across the Girl Scout movement, we are excited to be gathering for our 56th National Council session this July, and I look forward to welcoming our Girl Scouts from Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. We are honored to have a Girl Scout from your council, Abriette Epps, as part of our NCS advisory team that has been so integral to creating the best NCS experience for delegates and the movement. GSUSA is proud to partner with you to carry out our mission and build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. Have a productive annual meeting, and thank you again for all that you do.
Well, we very much appreciate that video that she sent. And while I'll be the past chair, I really look forward to working with Bonnie and seeing how her experience will benefit our great movement. Our next wonderful guest, who I personally have met and has just been a treasure in meeting her these past 2 years, is I'm honored to introduce Valerie Gibb, GSUSA National Board Member. She's a trailblazer for girls, a leader who has donated personally to our council, which has been amazing because Brian and I meet with Valerie, I swear, every other week, but it's just once a quarter. And we also want to celebrate all of her work she's done for us. Born in Ohio, where she joined Girl Scouts as a Brownie, as I did, Valerie is a lifetime member and built a career around empowering and mentoring the next generation of female leaders. While living in Connecticut, she's instrumental in Girl Scouts of Connecticut Camp CEO and program designed to connect Girl Scouts with prominent business women who share their life lessons and leadership journeys. Valerie is the co-founder and president emeritus of Women Entrepreneurial Empowerment Forum, mentoring and developing women in growth of their businesses. Valerie's passion for entrepreneur is evident in her board service, and especially her appointment by Governor of Connecticut to the board of Connecticut's Innovation, a leading source of financing for the state's growth and tech companies. This is Valerie's third time at our annual meeting, and sadly, and I mean sadly, but I'm going off too, so I'm not that sad that I won't get to see you because I'm thrilled I've got to get to connect with you for the last 2 years. Her board concludes this year. Thank you, Valerie, for all you've done for the council, and good afternoon to the East Coast. Thanks for being.
Thanks. It's a very rainy day here in Rhode Island, actually. But it's always a joy to be with you. Hello, everyone. I'm, as Nancy said, Valerie Gelb, treasurer on the National Board of Girl Scouts of USA. And I'm so proud to be able to be with you today and to join the great Council of Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. And as mentioned, I've been at a few of your annual meetings, and it really is always a joy to be with you. I want to especially thank Council CEO Brian, because you've always been such a great partner, and I appreciate it, and Board Chair Nancy for the invitation to join with you today. And really and truly to thank both of you for all the community service that you bring to our girls. It's been an honor to work alongside of you. I want to also extend my really deepest and heartfelt gratitude to not only the Girl Scouts joining in today, but to Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho's volunteers. We absolutely cannot give the girls this Girl Scout experience without you. And we really do appreciate everything you do every single day. And I know it's really tough. People have a lot on their plates, but we're very grateful to you. The board and I, the national board, are looking forward to gathering in July. Hopefully I'll get to see you all as we do this every 3 years with members from across the Girl Scout movement. We meet to conduct the very important business of Girl Scouting during our National Council session. And I love NCS because it really is allowing us and all the girls to be able to see the democratic process, what it's really like and how it really should be run. So I hope you can join us. There is, as most of you know, delegate education well underway. Hard to believe, our 56th National Council session. We've seen great, energetic, dynamic participation from all across the country in GSUSA's delegate forums. And if you happen to be a delegate or an alternate, I hope you've been able to join or are planning to join these forums, because it's really important that you participate actively during NCS in the coming weeks. I'm also pleased to report that yes, the delegate workbooks are out, which includes official proposal documents, standing rules. A slate has been released, also available to all the delegates on the website, and was shipped to all the councils. In addition to all of the work you're already engaging within your own communities and within your own council, GSUSA delegate education resources are available, again, through the website. Don't forget the forums, informational videos, on demand, training and dialogue amongst the delegates. And any more information you need, go to that website. You'll be able to find it. The GSUSA board is so excited, and I'm excited to be able to connect with all of you in July in Orlando. It wasn't quite the same being online for the last NCS. I was able to join in person in Columbus. And I have to say, it really is, if you've never been, it is a thrilling opportunity for our girls. And girls, don't forget to sign up, not only for NCS, but for Phenom. It's going to be phenomenal. So Phenom is very important, and you'll have a lot of fun. And you might see over my shoulder my little granddaughter, Emma, with her mask on, but she is a Girl Scout in Massachusetts, and hopefully you'll get to meet her at Phenom and at NCS. I know, as you do, that girls have limitless, as I know with our granddaughter, potential. You can and want to change the world. And I'm hoping in July, I know it's going to end for me in July. My service to GSUSA National Board will conclude, but it doesn't mean I'll ever forget you, because you are a wonderful council, and I'm so happy that my husband and I have been able to support you, not only financially, but through our prayers and good wishes, because you're doing great work out there. And my role as a volunteer doesn't seem to ever end. So I'm sure my volunteerism won't end, but I do look forward to continuing my support with our granddaughter Emma's troop and ensuring that the next generation of Girl Scouts are empowered to continue to do amazing things. It's been my privilege to spend time with your council in particular. I have to say, I do quarterly calls with 5 councils, but don't tell them, but you're my favorites, absolute favorite. And I've been and will continue to be inspired by all you do to build up our future leaders. I do know that you will continue to have the board's commitment and that they will continue to work with you and your council to ensure that Girl Scouts not only survives during these unprecedented times, but also thrives. And thank you so much for always including me, inviting me, and sending me your warm wishes. Have a great annual meeting.
Nancy, can I just say a few words real quick?
Please
Nancy?
go. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much. Valerie, before you disappear, wow, this is hard we've been through some tough times. The pandemic is when we first connected, and to everybody out there, this is our leadership on high. And when you have an interim CEO for 18 months and things are kind of drifting south, you can be very, very nervous, because while we're our own independent council, we're attached to the mothership, and where the mothership goes, we go. And Valerie, I just appreciate you talking to me, letting me know what you were seeing. You're on the executive level, so you saw things coming before anyone else did. And you were honest with me, and you had said, hey, Brian, it's going to be another 4 months. Hey, Brian, it's just around the corner on the announcement of the new CEO, et cetera, et cetera. And just as important was the fact that you back in 2020, just started sending us financial contributions. You're in Connecticut. You have no obligation to us whatsoever. And yet you saw our council fighting for it, having all those cookies hidden behind storage doors here as our states were locked down. And you gave us not only did you give us moral help, you also got us financial help. I'm glad I'll get to see you one more time, Valerie, down in Florida, but I'm sad this is your last annual meeting. But thank you for being there for Nancy and I on those quarterly calls, and always saying, Brian, it's going to be a better day tomorrow, because we're Girl Scouts and that's what we do. I gave this on my honor sun catcher. It's a glass blown from the Girl Scouts of West Virginia. And on my honor, we as Girl Scouts do our best to make the world a better place. And I'm going to give this to you as a gift when I'll mail it to you, actually, because we're going to be having a lot of other stuff we need to worry about in Florida. But I'll mail this to you, Valerie. And this is on behalf of my 1,500 distinguished volunteers, all of them legends in my mind. And more importantly, my 3,600 Girl Scouts who do every day make the world a better place. Thank you, Valerie, for being a legend in Girl Scouts USA for us and standing strong for us. God bless you. And I look forward to you continuing to be an example to every Girl Scout of how to be a woman of courage, confidence, and character. Take care, Valerie. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Best wishes, Valerie, and thank you for everything you've done. You certainly have left our movement stronger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final guest is Kevin Conley, Council Parliamentarian. Kevin has been a professional registered parliamentarian in Seattle area since 2002. He served various national organizations, including the National Professional Association of Convention Parliamentarians. At the local level, he served many nonprofit organizations and condominium and homeowners associations. In addition, Mr. Conley has acted as professional presider and convention parliamentarian, and has written parliamentarian opinions for several profits and nonprofits organizations. He is currently Washington State Youth Committee Chairman since 2008. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you very much. It is once again a pleasure to be here. I think this is my third, or I know it's at least my third, probably my fourth year here. And I just enjoy it. it's kind of funny because as the Washington State Committee Chairman for Washington State Association of Parliamentarians, I work with a lot of students, and one of my students, it turns out, this year is a Girl Scout. I only found that out after she was hawking Girl Scout cookies in school. So naturally I had to buy some, of course. So, but anyway, it's been a total pleasure, working with you, and I'd like to continue working with you. And I just want to say, Brian, I have my tie. Thank you very much. Thank you very much there. I'll continue. Basically, if you don't hear from me, that's a good thing. Okay, I'm mostly going to just be listening in, and if everything goes well, you probably won't hear from me other than the part about the bylaw amendment. But I'll be here the whole time and enjoying it, and like, once again, it'll be such a pleasure to serve this organization again. I actually brag about being the parliamentarian to you guys and gals. So that's enough for now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kevin. And you're so right. I hope we don't hear from you as I'm leading this meeting, but I'm thrilled that you're there if we do need help. So we so appreciate that you're with us today, and thank you.
Thank you.
The next order of business is our credential report. Scott Henderson, incoming Secretary of the Board of Directors, will be giving the credential report. Scott?
Great. Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Henderson. I am a member of the Board of Directors, and I serve as the Board Development Chairman. And through this meeting, hopefully you'll ratify me as the next Secretary. So, Madam Chair, I am happy to report the number of service units represented today is 21. The number of delegates in attendance is 53. The number of board members serving as delegates is 4, with a total of 57. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum, and I do want to just a real brief shout out to Lori and the crew in Spokane at Council that somehow virtually figured out who's on the call and that we have a quorum. I can't imagine how they did that, and it sure wasn't an easy task. So thank you, Lori and the team up there.
Well, thank you, Scott, and I agree. Thank you to Lori and the team. They're behind the scenes and recording all of that. If there's no objections, the credential report will be adopted. Hearing none, the credential report is adopted. The next order of business is the adoption of the virtual annual meeting standing rules that are listed in the delegates packet. Are there any objections to adopting the virtual annual meeting standing rule? If so, please unmute or put in the chat box. So,
Nancy, we are all clear.
okay, thank you, Lori. So since there's no objections, the standing rooms are adopted as distributed. The next order of business is the adoption of the agenda that you received in your council delegate packet. Are there any objections to adopting the agenda? Again, if so, please unmute or put in the chat box. I'm
Nancy,
guessing
we are
that-
all clear.
Perfect. Thank you, Lori. Since there's no objections, the agenda has been adopted. The next order of business is the 2022 annual meeting minutes. Delegates, please note that as detailed in the annual meeting standing rules, the minutes were approved by the Board of Directors at our June 2022 board meeting last year. So the minutes are approved, and we would like to state that for the record at this annual meeting. On our next order of business on the agenda is the voting and approval of a minor bylaw revision. At this time, we will have Kevin Conley preside over the bylaw revision proposal. Kevin, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
I got lost there for a second. So anyway, the explanation here is that, for the last 3 years, we've been working under the governor's proclamation allowing electronic meetings, what Roberts refers to as electronic meetings. But that's not always going to last. Okay, so by law, we have to do something to do that. According to the RCWs, the Revised Code of Washington, and also according to Robert's Rules of Order, who is your parliamentary authority, you need to provide something in your bylaws or your articles of incorporation allowing what they call electronic meetings, or we call them, we call them virtual meetings or hybrid meetings and stuff like that. It needs to be allowed. So this added language here actually does that in your bylaws. It's basically, it's written and taken, the verbiage is taken directly out of the RCW, the Revised Code of Washington, where it is actually required. So basically, this will allow us to have virtual meetings or hybrid meetings. It doesn't make us have it, okay? The board can decide whether it's necessary or not to have a virtual meeting or not, but this at least gives us legally permission to do so. So that's why it's in there. Is there any questions of that, from me or from board members or anything? Are we going to wait about 10, 15 seconds or what? In the chat box?
Lori, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is there anything in the chat box?
There
Oh,
is
yeah.
not.
No?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll vote on the proposed amendment now. We're going to be voting, launching a voting poll now. So please remember to vote only if you're a council delegate or board member. And the polls will be open for about 5 minutes, and then please send a message in the chat if you continue to have problems connecting, and a staff member will assist you. So we will close the polls in 5 minutes. Madam Chair, the polls are open, and we can vote.
Okay. So thank you, Kevin. So while is there someone that would like to speak on this proposal?
We do have one person in the chat box, Kellyanna Ornelas.
Okay, yes, we have a question.
Sure.
Juliana Ornelas, Service Unit 454. I would like to speak against this proposal because complete Zoom electronic sessions will not create the same experience for dialogue, communication, interaction with other members. How many of our delegates have gone off screen because of family or pets, or even to cook dinner at this point? Zooms make our world easier in travel, but more difficult with actual connections. Dropped calls, difficulty unmuting, and more cause problems with time and the clear messages we hope to share. Accountability when stepping into a delegate's position will be honored by coming together for a celebration. Thank you.
Is there any further debate?
I can just add on, this has nothing to do with whether we as council can go ahead and have a in-person meeting next year, regardless of this or not. All this is doing is just allowing us, because when we had our virtual meeting in 2020, we actually were against the bylaws of this council. We were against the bylaws of the state of Washington on us being able to have a virtual meeting in 2020. So I should have called us all together in 2020 to get us together. We know that was impossible. And the reason why we were able to do it was the governor issued a proclamation suspending all that stuff that impacted nonprofits. So we were all able to do virtual. We're still living under that. In fact, the emergency suspension here ended about 2 months ago. So right now we have to go back to our bylaws. So all that this is doing is, in the future, we can do virtual, we can do in person, or we can do a hybrid. That's all up to us. All this is allowing us to do is allow us to be legal to do virtual. So if you want us to be in person, you can engage with me and my board of directors to be in person, or to go forward on how you want to do it. This only allows us the ability to be legal to do it by Zoom. Kevin, am I saying it correctly?
That is absolutely correct. It allows the flexibility, if necessary, to have it by a virtual meeting of some kind. Yes, not necessarily by Zoom. It could be Teams or any of them, but yes.
It's just giving us flexibility. Go ahead.
Well, I want to go in order because we have, I saw a hand up and then I've seen like 3 messages in chat. but I saw the hand up first, and then we'll go to the messages in chat. Is that okay with the delegates? I think I saw Sarah with her hand up.
I did have my hand up. However, Brian just said exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, perfect, Sarah. Thank you. I wanted to make sure we heard from you. And I think there's questions in the chat. And so I guess, Lori, can you help us with those?
Mostly I'm seeing comments about people liking the meetings to be in person.
But I think I saw somebody want to amend the proposal.
Oh, Lindsay Leitner says that she would like to speak about the proposal.
Okay.
Yes, this is Lindsay Leitner. I apologize. I can't turn my screen on because I'm having a issue with my mouse at the moment. I am from Service Unit 472 in the Tri-Cities. I have been, working with people on Zoom for the past 3 years, as many of us have, and I definitely appreciate the value of being in person with others and getting to commune and share the Girl Scout spirit. At the same time, given a council this big and the area that we serve, requiring attendance in person is a real equity issue, especially for those of us who live far from Spokane. It's something that impacts our ability to, send people up there in a cost-effective way. It impacts participation, particularly from the girls who, would need to give up more time in order to be a delegate. I think that there are more things to be gained than not, and I certainly hope in the spirit of Girl Scouting that somebody who volunteers to be a delegate is not going to be, as was mentioned, cooking dinner or other things during this time, and instead is fully participating, whether they're on Zoom or in person. So I support the proposal as a way to promote equity among our very geographically dispersed council. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Deborah wants to amend the proposal. I just saw the chat pop up, if I saw correctly.
Nobody said something about that. Yes, I saw it in the chat as well.
Deborah?
This is Kiliana. Is it putting up the wrong name?
Lori, can you help us
It
with
shows Kiliana.
Oh, it did. My apologies.
Yes, it does.
Okay. I'm Kiliana Ornelas, Service Unit 454 delegate. I move to amend the proposal in ways that limits the impact on travel but maximizes socialization and meeting possibility increase understanding. We understand the difficulties from hours away to attend a single meeting, and additional costs due to hotels and food also cause financial strain on those having to arrive earlier. I ask that we amend the proposal to 2 to 3 large group gatherings connected by electronic abilities spread across council that would encourage our members to interact with one another with a minimum amount of travel. Suggestions like Spokane, Pasco, and Wenatchee. Complete Zoom electronic sessions would not create the same experience for dialogue, communication, and interaction with other members. As we have seen in the past NCS 2020 and last year's EWNI annual, having dozens to hundreds of Zoom connections have the potential of difficulties of dropping calls and user error. The number of limitations will be shrunk, giving us the opportunity to socialize with one another and interact with neighboring city troops. Thank you.
We have a hand up, Daniela.
Hello, everybody.
Did I address the amendment first?
Sure. Yes. I'm sorry, Kevin.
First of all, amendment will require a second anyway, but there's something what we call scope of notice, where you have to actually give notice. And that's what we've done here. We gave notice when we sent this out in the first place. And the only thing that's amendable is within that area that's being added in. Okay, so you can only change the wording there. There's no real amendment that the previous speaker was was referring to, so you can't actually put anything in the bylaws other than to amend the wording that is being proposed right now. So it's not in the scope of notice to do so. That's all. So I want to remind people also too that, you know, the debate should be limited to the merits of this being adopted or not. Okay, not so much whether we should have in-person meetings or virtual meetings or whatever like that. That's not actually the issue. The issue is whether we want to authorize virtual meetings if necessary. Okay, and people should speak to that particular issue for that reason. And now I guess we'll recognize Daniela.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I agree with the points that have been made about meeting in person versus virtually. There's definitely benefits to meeting in person versus virtually, but virtual meetings allow for everybody, right, to participate across the large geographic region that we are a part of. I think the amendment, all this does is give us the option to have a virtual meeting or permission to have a virtual meeting in the case that we can't meet in person. It's not requiring that all of our meetings be in person or virtual. It's just making it possible for us to do it legally without violating our you know, articles and board documents. So I love that people are excited about meeting in person, and I think we should talk about that. But just remember, this is only just giving us the option to meet virtually and be in compliance.
Okay, thank you. The chair, somebody else was recommending, Ms. Follett or Lynn?
Thank you, Kevin. So I definitely like the discussion, and even though I am a couple hours away from Spokane, I feel the value of in-person meetings, and the COVID restrictions didn't do us any services in terms of being able to get together and have real conversations that matter. I like the amendment because it does give us flexibility, and you don't know what the future holds, and we can be prepared for it by having this amendment. I think an easy amendment to the proposal could insert language after the word remote communication. We could amend it by saying by prior approval of the majority, which would give our council staff the ability to kind of poll the majority and see, instead of just having it arbitrary that somebody decides that they don't want to do an in-person meeting. And I think that's a lot of fear, is that everything will just become virtual and we won't have the option to be in person. But if we can make the language so that we all have a say in whether or not we're virtual, that might be helpful.
Thank you. Don't quote me on that, but usually in most bylaws, I haven't checked the actual bylaws of the Girl Scouts here, but most of the bylaws provide that the board actually is empowered to choose what the meeting is, the location of the meeting and the time of the meeting. So without being able to quickly check that, I would venture to guess that would be the case, that the board is empowered and you couldn't amend it otherwise. Also, once again, such an amendment would be out of the scope of notice. It's not, there would be no notice there. You could strike wording or something like that, but you can't actually insert wording that actually authorizes something else without giving notice ahead of time to do so. Yeah, I'd like to also point out one other thing too is, you know, your parliamentary authority, Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, that's in your bylaws, okay? It actually frowns upon virtual meetings. It's basically, it's set up that it kind of calls them a necessary evil, basically. Sometimes it is absolutely necessary, but it definitely favors in-person meetings. Always, you know, I mean, and personally, you know, I'll give an opinion here. Personally, I prefer in-person meetings because it actually has a better characteristics of what they call deliberative assembly. People can actually argue and debate and try to convince other people a lot easier in person than they can over electronic means. So anybody else have any questions
There
or,
were there were some questions in the chat, Kevin.
okay,
Lori, can you help?
My comment, I see Sue's comment and I respect your comments. Sue is a legend, but my comment, and I'll just be quite honest with you. Our world has changed. Do you think Brian wants in person? I absolutely want in person. This is not the exact same thing, but I had for the first time a dinner with friends. And as of a week ago, last night, I had 7 people signed up. 7 people. And how many volunteers do I have in Spokane? I deeply appreciate people wanting to come together, but we're not in that new reality anymore. And I'm happy to have a hybrid meeting next year. But to you, Sue, and to all the others, I want to let you know that things have changed here in Spokane. To get a room here at night, it's at least over $200 now to get a room because we have so many sports things going on. So if you want to drive here and drive away, that's fine. And we did that back in 2018. And it was the annual meeting that made all the difference for me. But you reach out to me all the time to come to events all over this place. And you know I come. But I have to tell you, I was deeply saddened for trying to get everyone together. And as of a week ago, I had 7 people signed up to come, and 2 of them were virtual. We ended up having 25 people come, but it wasn't the 75 people that we had. And maybe it's the time of month. Maybe it might be other things like that. But the reality is, if we call an in-person meeting, and I appreciate Kiali, as always, I really appreciate girls' comments, but having events in 2 different places, I'm going to have to go rent rooms in Tri-Cities. I'm going to have to go rent rooms in Yakima or Ellensburg. I'm going to have staff. Normally this is during this cookie season. So not only am I already paying overtime for staff, I'm going to have to do more time for them to be there because volunteers aren't going to be able to set up the rooms and everything else. For me to do all these things, there's a lot of costs associated with it. I want to have an annual meeting in person. It's great. But if I do it fairly and I move it all around and I go to Tri-Cities next year and then the next year we go, the costs get to be exponential. I'm happy to look at hybrid, but I have to be quite honest with you, whether it be my Rotary meeting, whether it be my other board meetings that I go to, including my own board, people showing up in person is not a thing anymore. And so we have to make sure that everyone shows up in person because if we don't have quorum, the meeting doesn't count. And we'll have to schedule another one. Many other councils across America, because of the costs of meetings, and we normally budget $500 for the cost of the meeting, because you know what the most expensive thing is it food. It's food. Food is very, very expensive, and I need to feed you if you travel to see me. But I am happy to do that. And I did that last night. We spent $10 a person for the thing last night, and we spent extra money to support everybody because you can't get a meal for $10 anymore. And I'm happy to subsidize that. But the bottom line on the matter is I am happy to do whatever you want. But this amendment has nothing to do with that. We are absolutely right now, you are in my operational lane. And this is only a governance thing that gives us the ability to do virtual. So if you want to go and vote no against this, that's fine. That makes my job easy. Next year, the governor's emergency exemption's not in place. We'll do it in person. This is allowing me the flexibility. And if this is something that is strong to you, my board of directors are my bosses, and you can tell them, board of directors, tell Brian to have an annual meeting. We have this discussion every November and February. Should it be in person or should it be a virtual? And it's been kind of a mixed bag. But if you're strongly about this, write my board of directors. Say, tell Brian to do it. They will tell me and I will say, yes, ma'am. But this is only giving us the flexibility to do all that we can do. That's all it's doing. And I always listen to you all. And it bothers me that you want to get into my operational lane because I think we've done quite well letting Brian run operations the last 3 years. So I am happy to meet in person and I will continue to show up at anything you ask me to come to. But when I have a meeting in person, like dinner with friends, I'd appreciate if you would come show up to my party because I try not to ask a lot of you other than to help me out in cookie season. Other than that, and recruit girls. Other than that, I'm there for you the rest of the way. So I appreciate everyone's passion on this one. But for my part, all we're trying to do is comply with state law and give us the possibility to do what we're doing right now legally. Because honestly, it's debatable what we're doing right now is legal. Thank you.
Is there any other comments or any further debate? If not, then now the polls will be open for the next 5 minutes or so. Can you bring up the polls?
So as we bring up the poll to vote, we're going to go ahead and move forward with our financial report during this time. And then we will have after the financial report, we'll have the results of the voting. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Daniela Paparella Thornton to provide the treasurer's report. Daniela?
Hello, as Nancy said, I'm Daniela Paparella Thornton. I'm your treasurer. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I have a script, which I basically just said. So here are our 2023 financials, and I don't see the PowerPoint. Give me a second. Don't know if I'm not sure who's going to move the PowerPoint forward. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is just a snapshot of our last year's worth of revenue and expenses. We had one of our best years. Revenue is up almost 900,000 from the year before, or just a little over 900,000 from the year before. We saw an increase. Obviously, the cookie sales made a big difference. We received government grants. We also received PPP loan forgiveness, as well as the employee retention tax credit. Expenses changed by about almost 600,000. We did increase payroll by about 400,000, which allowed us to get the staff that we need to accomplish all that we've done over this past year. That's all I want to say about that. You could switch to the next one. Here's a 5-year snapshot that really gives you a visual of what this council has accomplished. We've got pink is our gross profit. The pink line is our gross profit. Yellow is net income. And you can just see over the last 5 years, we have seen such a tremendous increase in profit, which has just enables us to do more for our girls in our community. Do you have any questions for me?
If you have a question, please raise your hand or use the chat box. I think there's a question. It pertains though to the voting. Lori, can you look at the chat box? Someone, I don't think, received the poll.
Dee Dee, just go ahead and just send Lori private text your vote and then she can record it.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
And I did forget to remind you that we were looking at fiscal year October 2021 to September 2022. So our fiscal years always end in September. All right, thank you, everybody.
Well, thanks so much, Daniela. Really appreciate yours and Sandy's expertise in this area. It's so valuable to the council. So thank you for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
This is Lori. We're going to need a few minutes to go over the tally the votes.
Okay. Shall we? Let me see.
That's fine. That's fine, Lori. We can read it out later. Is Scott able to talk about the candidates? Or while you do that in the background? Renee can come help Callie votes too.
Okay, that would be great. So let's just move on and we can get the results of this vote. But we'll proceed with Scott Henderson, the outgoing chair of the Board Development Committee, who will present the slate of candidates for 2023-24. Scott?
Well, good morning again, everybody. Thanks, Nancy. I appreciate it. I want to describe how the Board Development Committee, which we call the BDC, functions within our council's governance structure. The Board Development Committee is a standing committee for the Board of Directors. The committee consists of 4 board members and 2 community members. It's the responsibility of the committee to develop a slate of new officers for a term of 2 years, new board members, which are members at large, for a term of 3 years, new board members for the Board Development Committee for a term of 3 years, and national delegates and alternate national delegates for a term of 3 years when required for the National Council session. The committee has worked hard to bring forth new board of directors that are diversified and representing our council. With the delegates approving 2 years ago a bigger board of directors, our council continues to blossom with a diverse board of directors for most regions of our council. I need to reiterate that Jennifer Davis of First Interstate Bank had to withdraw due to a sudden family emergency. She extends her deepest apologies. Because we are well over our minimum number of board members, we can proceed with the slate despite her absence. I'd also like to note that Lynn Follett was voted in by the board of directors in November because there was someone passed away, and she is on the docket to be ratified today. And also at this time, I'd like to recognize the 2022-2023 committee for their service and dedication. Plus, I'd like to highlight our outgoing board members at large, Shelley Murphy, Sherry Osler, Lynn Ciani, and past board chair, Michelle Young. Also departing are girl board members, Ella Gebbers, Haley Albin, India Keller, Samantha Cutter. We thank them for their tremendous service to the board and to our council, and especially to our girls. Matter of fact, Michelle has been with us since 2011. So thank you, Michelle. It's always been a pleasure to work with you. So I'm happy to report if this slate is approved, we will have 5 officers and 21 members at large and 4 girl members, totaling 25 board of directors and 4 girl board members. An impressive slate that 2 years ago was only at 15 members of the board of directors. So after due consideration, the committee presents the following slate to the council delegates for their annual meeting approval.
Thank you, Scott. So on the screen, you'll see the recommended slate of officers. Those names highlighted in green are the candidates that will be voted on. And voted on. This slate's also available in your delegate packet with their bios. I'm looking at my delegate packet right now, and it's on page 19 if you want to go to your delegate packet. So I know we have a multitude of voting going on. I'm hoping that we'll have the voting up on the screen, correct, Brian? And with that voting, we can do that voting. I just want to confirm that. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So at this time, we're going to do a vote on the slate of candidates, but we're also going to take a short break, a 10-minute break or so. It is now like 10:15. We'll come back at, let's say, 10:30 to reconvene, and we will have the results of the voting on the candidates and the voting on the bylaw change.
Hey, Nancy,
So,
just
yeah.
so that, because we took a little longer on the amendment there, and I do appreciate the discussion. Can we come back at 10:25? Just because I want to try to get them out here by noon.
Sure, 10:25. So that actually, according to my watch, you have 9 minutes here. So we will back in 9 minutes, vote, and then we will see you back here at 10:25. Thanks so much. Um, yeah.
So you can just go ahead and advance the slides until we get the votes selected. Lori and Kelsey to the board chair one, and then we'll come back once we have the board sorted out to the rest of the slides. So you can go ahead and advance the slides to the board chair report.
Yeah, so making sure everybody's staying on their toes, we're gonna move the agenda around. I know the parliamentarians probably going, you're confusing me here, so we want to keep you on your toes, Kevin. Anyway, we're gonna move to the board chair report, my report, and then we will come back when we have the results of the voting. And Kevin, as parliamentarian, are you comfortable with that?
Certainly, if there's no objection, you can amend the agenda on the spot like that. No problem.
Okay, okay. Does anybody object to that? I want to keep moving because I know we all have busy lives and I want to keep us on time. So, I think as a highlight of this whole annual meeting is my report, because my report is to say to everybody on this call and this past year, thank you for what you have given our council. Thank you for what you have done for girls. And thank you for making the world a better place. When I came in as board chair, I will admit, I didn't really know. I was a brownie. And but I have not been that engaged in Girl Scouts. And I will tell you, these last 2 years have been just such a blessing in my life, and that have given me just such strength and hope for the future when working with the girls and the volunteers. When I reflect back, came in and during a pandemic, which, we all go a pandemic, we never want to do that again. But since then, when we look at as everybody has talked about, our membership growth has just been amazing. And then the cookie sales, and over 1 million boxes of cookies sold. And of course, that's my highlight. I love going to the grocery store and buying cookies from every little girl and every big girl selling cookies. The other thing that's just been a wonderful is been the philanthropy, the engagement of our communities in our movement. I have just been so impressed with the businesses and the corporations and the individuals who have invested in us and in the movement and in making camp better. I'm so looking forward to going out to go on the zip line. Last night with friends with dinner, when Brian was telling us about it, I did get a little worried, thinking, uh-oh, I might get too scared to get on it, but it just sounds so remarkable. That, and plus all the other activities and the work that Julie has done this year to secure all the activities where we've raised money and brought fellowship together around what we do. Another strength of the last 2 years has been the Go Getters program. I mean, what a fabulous program that is. I mean, and the growth of it, especially the growth in the Tri-Cities area with the new store in Pasco. Council members, if you remember, that first year I came on as board chair, we didn't really have strong financials. Brian came to us and said, we want to put a store in Pasco. The council got behind him. And I'm telling this on behalf of everybody on the call, knowing that, we hope this works, or because our financials, we're going to have to dig deep. It beyond work. It was our growth of Girl Scouts in the Tri-Cities area. And then especially we brought some new board members on from Yakima and from Wenatchee, and the growth in those areas. It has just been amazing. That has been all the work of volunteers, and of course of Scott Henderson as our BDC chair, and the work that he has done. And last but not least is and last night, as we had dinner with friends, it was a treat for me to meet all of our volunteers and the troop leaders and the work that they do. I mean, I think one troop leader last night said she had 43 different troops. And I just went, oh my gracious, that's just like amazing to me and people of what they're giving back to girls. I have been honored to be your board chair. I want to thank you for giving me this honor for the last 2 years. It has just been a delight. I've met new women that I would have never met, and that has been giving me strength, and that is just wonderful in my life. And the people that I've met at national and the people that I've met throughout our whole council has just been a delight. And I just want to thank the staff here. They're incredible. And as we know, the leadership of our CEO, Brian, and then all of his staff has just made us stronger and better. So with that, I just want to thank you for what you've done and the work that you've given the last 2 years. And I'm just going to so enjoy it as your past chair and watching Jennifer lead and the growth that we are going to have in the next couple of years. So thank you so much. I don't know with that if we have votes in and we can go back in the agenda or.
I'll jump on and I'll
Okay.
go until they come and signal me that we're good here, just to
Okay.
keep things going. I just want to thank you, Nancy, again. I celebrated you last night, but I knew we were going to do a big philanthropy push. You're in charge of WSU philanthropy for Spokane, and you've obviously been one of the architects to get the medical school. And I just said, Julie and I really wanted your wisdom to really, really help out and make a difference for our council. And with little experience in Girl Scouts, even though you still probably remembered your brownie promise, you came on in, Nancy, and you hit it out of the park. So you were a women in distinction back then, and guess what? You still are today. Thank you, Nancy, for being there. You can go ahead and advance the next slide. I will just jump into my chief executive report, and then at some point we'll break back and congratulate our board members. Yep, just keep going through them. Yep, thank you very much. You can go to the next slide. I just want to start by first remembering Chelsea Fadden. Chelsea was our Yakima Girl Scout that passed away from a car crash 2 months ago. Troop 4578. We wish Felicia, one of our staff members, but most importantly, we wish her mom the best. Mom is surviving, brother is still recovering, and we lost dad and Chelsea. This is the first annual meeting in my 5 years where we lost a Girl Scout. And so last night at dinner with friends, we honored Chelsea last night, and she will always be part of my heart, just like the 6 airmen that I lost in my 2 years out at Fairchild will always be part of my family. Chelsea will always be part of our Girl Scout family. And Chelsea, we think the best of you. And before I forget, I also just want to honor Stephanie Bedard and the OMAC service unit, but honestly honor each of you. We got yet another award last night. This is our 3rd official award from an outside organization. We were honored by the Spokane Valley Chamber of Commerce. We were honored by the Coeur d'Alene Chamber of Commerce for our stewardship of the lake. The Spokane Valley honored for your innovation for surviving that 2020 cookie sale that we shouldn't talk about anymore because it was such a challenge for us. But this award was for Volunteer of the Year to not only Stephanie, but to all our Girl Scouts. For the past 3 years, they have done so much to make the Okanagan conservation district so much stronger. Bee boxes, putting symbols on fences so that birds don't run in them, and so many other things that they've done, and they've educated the Girl Scouts out there. I was so honored to come up and be there with you this week, Stephanie. You not only represent your small section of the world, you represent all of our Girl Scouts. So I just wanted to show this award off to all the Girl Scouts out there. I will get this back up to you because it belongs on your fireplace mantle. But seriously, that was an incredible award, and it was a huge award dinner, and there was only 9 awards given. And one of them was to our Girl Scouts. And it was really an honor to be there. And I congratulate you, Stephanie, for all that you have done out there. I will just say also to all the board members, we're going to thank the board members. I thank Nancy. To all the other board members leaving, all of you, thank you for what you've done, including Michelle Young. She's on a cruise right now. She's actually in Croatia for her wedding anniversary. But Michelle Young hired me She had faith that I'd be able to move us forward, and she really did a lot of incredible things. And she leaves us now as past chair, serving with us from 2011. Lynn Ciani, I would say the same thing. And then certainly Shelley Murphy is going to move on to be the new service unit manager down in Walla Walla. To all of our volunteers, Sherry and all the other ones who served, you made such a difference the last year. You made that tough call on the store down in Tri-Cities, and I deeply, deeply appreciate it. I'd start my chief executive report off with those annotations because I did not want to forget them, because once I get going, sometimes I do forget things that I need to say. But I also just want to also start with my girls. You all know that I have my troop. I'm now a junior leader. I honestly don't know if I have the ability to be a cadet leader. I've got one more year of juniors. We've got to work on our bronze award. So I'll report on that in a year from now. But it's been an experience for me. This will be my last year being a Daisy leaders. Those are my second year Daisies. They will be moving on to Brownies, and there's another Eagle Ridge Daisy troop starting. So I am able to stop the pedal process after 4 years. I think I've got that one memorized, but it has been an honor to be part of these girls' lives. And you can go ahead and go to the next slide. And quite honestly, it's been an honor to be part of each one of your girls' slides. On the outer parts of the slide is Macy Newbill. She actually was one of the girls this morning for the Legend ceremony. And after the bridging ceremony this week up in Meade, her and them and Walla Walla are the first one to jump in, or not, I'm sorry, Pasco jump into bridging. She sent me this slide. It's amazing. I do feel like I looked a little bit better 5 years ago. So I do feel like I need to get a little bit better back in shape. But just to see the growth of these girls here over the last 5 years, I honestly take it very, very seriously that I am a mentor in their lives, that I'm a positive male role model in their lives. And I do all I can to do that every day, to be there. And to me, it's a sacred privilege. And having served airmen for 23 years, I never, ever thought that I would be in a position to be able to be a positive impact to others. And when and as they saw last night for our slideshow, I get emotional about it. I very, very deeply am honored to be part of your girls' lives. And it's something that is a sacred honor for me to make sure that their world is a better place by our actions. So Macy, you are just one of many girls that I've grown up with. Sophie Henderson, who you saw the promise-in-law, is graduating this year. It's in fact interesting. Our greatest Girl Scout out there from our greatest cookie seller, Michaela Butler, just graduated last weekend from the University of Idaho. And it's just amazing to be part of all these Girl Scouts out there. Sophie is certainly in the annals of being a legendary Girl Scout as well. Miranda Reed, who I showed last night on our slideshow, was married in the past year. To each of them that I've had to be a part of, just realize I think each one of your Girl Scouts, when I come up and engage with them, I give them a stuffy, I give them a patch. Each one of them is a legend in my mind, and nothing truer than this weekend, where again, to Electric Ellensburg, thanks for giving me some high voltage. It was a tough week and I needed it. And showing up at that ice cream store, just imagine walking into an ice cream store and we dominate. I mean, we've certainly done the same thing up in Blue Spoon up there, Shelley, with your Girl Scouts in Wenatchee. Well, we did the same thing at Electric. They're like, whoa, Girl Scouts are in town. We totally packed out the store. But at the end of it, I was able to give Megan Marsh her congratulations that she makes the world a better place. My staff members are right now distributing these signs. I hope our girls, 79 seniors. That says two things. One, membership team, we need to reload. Second, it also says that it's great that we've had so many older girls stay with us for so long. As we know, from the cadet years on, it's very hard to keep our girls in. And 79 seniors is the highest graduation we've had. So your signs will be coming soon. You'll be getting cards. You'll be getting gifts from us here, because each one of you, and then I'll be celebrating dinner with each of you as well, if you would like to have dinner with me in your respective areas, because Girl Scouts, you make a difference. And Megan, it truly was an honor to be on this ride with you. And it was great for me to give you that sign in person and just you light up, because I think you make the world a better place. So to each of you, you make the world a better place. And I appreciate you seniors as you go forth. Next slide. So as I close out my remarks here, I'm not closing them out, I'm just starting, but I am watching the time and I'm watching for the vote result as well. This was just a good week. This was a really good week. I appreciate the comments there on the annual meeting, and I hope that I'm still in sync with my council. I'll have to reflect whether or not that my place here is still right. But I definitely, we had a good week. And it started off this week with this being the Girl Scout that joined this week that put us over to be green for this year. This is Beatrix Owens. Thanks to Deb Osler and all the other leaders that took her in. And we never could have grown without you volunteers out there doing what you could do to make us grow. Many of you have just taken on more and more girls, and that's allowed us to get there to do what we're needing to do. And Beatrice is our 57th Girl Scout out there. And with that, we are now +1 over our girls from last year. And guess what? We have the end of May, we have June, July, August, and September to, you know what, be a little bit bigger. And me and Jody and the rest of the membership are dreaming, but we just might by September 30th hit 4,000 Girl Scouts. 4,000 Girl Scouts. Would that be amazing? So welcome, Beatrice. You make us a green council. For 3 straight years, we've grown, and you've helped us do that. And I appreciate that very much. Look at that. Brittany Moore, 3672. Man, 3 days ago is such old news. But we not only have been growing this week, we've gotten donations totaling $30,000 for our adventure park. Did I mention the adventure park? I'm going to talk about that here in a second, but it is complete. And we have a brand new dock. Both our docks out at Camp 4 Echoes have been completed, and none of that has used any cookie money to make happen. That has all been done by the great management and investment management of Sandy, our CFO, our excellent CFO, who her and Daniela gave us a great financial reading today. Look at that growth of us over the last couple of years. Any business would be happy to see that angle of our finances going on up. And that's because of each of you. And on top of that, we still have a year of emergency reserves that we're sitting on to keep girls going so that Girl Scouts will never, ever perish from this part of the country. Next slide. So as I look back over the last year, we couldn't have done it without you. Our staff now has an average rating of about being on staff for over 3 years. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is actually a lot in the new current world that we live in, where people stay in a job for under a year. We have a very experienced staff, but I could just tell you that we have never, ever worked as hard as we have since February 1st. Most of my staff members since February and World Thinking Days and Sweets Before Supper and the cookie rallies and the cookie distribution and all the other things that we have done, we have been working pretty much 7 days a week. And when I came into this council, I certainly started going on to an ops tempo of being there on the weekends, because guess what? That's when our volunteers or girls are actually doing Girl Scouting. But it took time for me to get the rest of the staff there, but the rest of the staff is there. And it is a challenge because we all know that weekends are important. But my staff understands when they come in this organization that evenings and weekends are a part of the job. And I appreciate all of them for making that happen. And quite honestly, they have done it with a smile. And we have never had as busy an ops tempo, especially from early February through the end of cookie season, where we're working all the time. I'll just say that each one of these names up there represents someone incredibly important to our organization. You're going to hear from Renee here shortly. She certainly is the architect of this council by being the person who put into place a cookie season. She's been doing cookie seasons for 10 seasons now. She's obviously the chief operating officer, but she put the blueprint in for us that cookie fuels our council, and it's done so in a way that is quite above many other councils out there in America and allowed us to do it. You know what? Next week, I mentioned we're going to have in the Legends part that we're going to have councils from across America visit us, mostly from the Pacific Northwest. You know what they're going to go have a great time doing? They're going to go visit our store. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, we don't have a store. Rita, I want to buy this and I want to buy this. We're going to have a spike in retail stores from outside councils who just have the ability to come and see us and what we do. So we're excited about that. And thank you, Renee, for what you've been doing. Thank you, Sandy, for being here from day one for me with well. She just did a cost estimate of our budget for 2022, 2023. And so what you saw today was 2022. We haven't gotten through 2023. That ends September 30th when we're going to be at 4,000 Girl Scouts. You know, this man here, Brian, spends a lot of money, including $168 on Girl Scout ice cream in Electric Ellensburg this weekend. I spent a lot of money, but we are right now $300,000 plus ahead of budget right now from your incredible work this year. It has been a good week, and it's because of every one of you. Thank you, Sandy, for all that you're doing there. So we break them up by the stovepipes that you see here. They're great folks. Next slide. I'll just talk about just briefly them as we go. Again, salutes to you, Renee and Sandy. We've been the trio that has built this council that we've done. And yep, Jessica, clap to each of them for what they've done. Next slide. We have our directors out there. Most of them report to Renee, except for Julie comes my way. I just really appreciate all that they've done. These are directors who take responsibility for their area, and they make our job easier. Renee's, Sandy, and mine. They've been incredible what we've done. I'll spotlight our outreach program with Natalie. We have 120 Girl Scouts down south in Pasco. We have 140 Girl Scouts right now. In fact, we have cadets for our go-getters right now, right over in the hospital. We doing great things last night. They got to watch me do the Fab Five and see how fun it is to do it late into the evening time frame, but they didn't sleep last night anyway, just like me, so it's all good. But Natalie, you've built a great go-getter program. We were able to meet one of our great go-getters last night at dinner with friends, Aubrey. And you know what? Our go-getters are fully engaged. They sold a lot of cookies this year. They're right there with you, volunteers, doing what you're doing. Tammy doesn't sleep. She's done all the things that she's done to make a difference out there, and no more accolades for Jody necessary. She shows it in her work. We're going to hit 4,000 girls this year, and it's because of her leadership. Sweets Before Supper, best event I've ever been to. Krista Ortega makes it happen. We're putting her focusing on adult education right now. As I relook at exactly where events are in this council, we have some great events, whether it be cookies and beer, whether it be Sweets Before Supper, but attendance to those events have been hard to get. We had 350 at the Sweets Before Supper, but it was all last minute, and it's a challenge to do events. And so right now I'm working with my executive board and figuring out for the 2024 year, how many events we're going to have, because it takes a lot of staff time and a lot of pressure on the system. And financially, we haven't lost money. We don't necessarily gain money. And so I, as your CEO, is responsible for making things smart. So I'm relooking events right now where they're going to fall within our portfolio. The executive board did ask me to do Sweets Before Supper next year because it is such an incredible event. And it's important for us as an organization to acknowledge women of distinction out there. We acknowledged 7 this year, 10 the previous year, and 5 the previous year. And I do think that's an important event. So we will have Sweets Before Supper next year, but the other events are under review right now. And I appreciate Crystal focusing on adult education as we figure out our ops tempo going forward. Julie Morin is our philanthropy director. You're going to see her slide here in a second. An excellent job keeping us ahead of the game in all that she does out there as well. And Katie came to Electric Ellensburg here to grab some ice cream, and she's doing a journey in the day out of Camp 4 Echoes today. She travels the state. As a middle school teacher, she is one of the best at delivering program, and she runs a great team. Next slide. I'll go through these a little bit faster here as we go forward, but that's your team. That's your membership team. They are incredible. And again, spotlighting Vanessa down in the bottom of the corner. Vanessa does so much down there as one of our bilingual staff members, 120 go-getters down there doing incredible things. And they had spring day camp this year. We have never done that down there. And she lifted it on up out there. But these ladies, these are the toast of the council. They work really hard, and they're the reason why we're a council in green right now, because they are out there. Most councils stop membership recruiting in the summer. Not us, not these ladies. Thank you, ladies, for all that you do. And Alex is new troop support manager, and she's as busy as my Marcom Tammy, because we got a lot of new troops forming, and she travels a lot. And she's been out there, and she's going to be driving the truck tonight for the Lilac Parade with all our Gold Girl Scouts in it. Next slide. Certainly here we've got our collection of folks out there doing our programming. Kaylin's out doing programming with Katie out there. Alana came on just to help with highest awards. Part-time, another, oh my goodness, she has done so much for us. She's officially retired, but Renee and I really keep her busy because we appreciate all that she does. Brittany's on point for data for us. Lydia is one of the folks with the Go-Getters right now. She's over with them right now. Jess was working Go-Getters and is moving over to give support from Tammy, and Sky is certainly with Kaylin doing all that stuff out there. We appreciate you. And Meg is more famous than me. Ego, our camp director, she's the heart behind the aerial adventure park, and we appreciate her very, very much out there and all that she does. I'm just going to take a moment to tip my hat to the product sales team. 2 years in a row that we hit 1 million cookies. Brooke came on board because we were such a high volume and really, really helped Caitlin and all that she did. And Bree's been doing this for 2 years. They all smashed it with fall sale. I mean, you got me that budget of being $300,000 ahead this year. That started in fall sale. Chocolate and nuts, we do good business. And you got me kicked out the door to do good stuff on what we're doing out there. And it was incredibly important. And these ladies helped make it happen. There's one other person, director, that I didn't spotlight when her slide was up, because I just wanted to talk about all three, because this teamwork makes the dream work. I mentioned this last night at dinner with friends. Caitlin May is going to be leaving us to move over to the West Side. There's other adventures and other family that she needs to take care of. She's been our cookie director for the last 3 years. Renee and I definitely were taken back with her leaving, because she has been an incredible asset to us. I'm responsible for bringing someone else in to make sure it happens. We're in the process of doing that right now. But as we say goodbye to Caitlin, and as the staff gives her a hug here in a couple weeks, you got to say, Girl Scouts are awesome. Caitlin May was an awesome Girl Scout. New Gonzaga graduate, came in as doing effectively Bree and Brooke's job, that 2020 nightmare sale, coming into work in a biological suit. I'm making a joke, but it was the whole COVID thing. Most of us were working from home. She came on and helped do cookies. Next year, 2021, was that crazy season where we were coming out of the pandemic. We couldn't keep cookies. We had to have 3 drivers in the van to get them all over the place. That was our first one to kind of test the waters, see what this is all about. And the last 2 years was Caitlin. And this year was certainly Caitlin. Renee, I keep very, very busy, and you can imagine that. And Renee was hands off on this sale. This sale of 1.19 million cookies is all on Caitlin's back. And she did an incredible job. She's mid-20s in charge of a $4 million cookie program. Can you say that Caitlin May's future is bright? Absolutely. It is sunny bright, because she has done so much for us. So Caitlin, to you, Bree and Brooke, hats off to you. You give us the ability to do all the things that we're doing, and we do it in spades. You are Thin Mint. Thanks for what you do. Next slide. And certainly this staff, while they might not be the first slide showing there, they're just as important as my slide and Renee's slide there. Sam and Candy came in as a team mid-year, right before camp registration. Great timing on their part, and they made it happen. They answered all your calls. They didn't always know the answers, but they did the best they can. You know what? They did great. Julia got my credit card unlocked this week so I can buy more ice cream. Thank you, Julia. But she does so much more out there to make a difference for us. And she's part of this dynamic duo with Sandy to keep us flush. Lori, from food to this annual meeting to all the other things, she didn't realize what she was stepping into, but she always comes and says, Brian, I got this. We're going to make this happen, because she truly believes in this movement. She's a JGL member. She's a lifetime member. She had no affiliation to us, and she stepped up. And certainly our store, Rita, get ready if you're out there. Next week's going to be busy. And Sally is right now in the store as we speak, doing all the stuff that she does as well. John keeps us going. This center never has looked as good as it does right now. And Zane is the second architect with Meg behind our new adventure park. More to follow on that. Next slide. So I'll just, I've got to turn my time over to Renee, but I just wanted to take time to spend with you all to share with you how special each of those staff members are. I do ask a lot of them. I bet you could probably think I'm a tough boss because I drive myself hard. So I'm going to actually ask those around me to work pretty hard as well. They've been incredible. And again, I can't thank my staff enough for all the weekends and say, yes, Brian, we'll take another picture for you, and all the other things that they do to make our council great. And certainly you can look at what our philanthropy under the direction of Julie Morin has been incredible there. $400,000 in grants. The Daisy Circle, we're sitting about 45 Daisy Circles. Those are volunteers, others who donate to us on a monthly basis, $5 a month. My goal before I leave this council is to get to 100 and plus years, whatever our year is. So 112 years for next year. My goal is to get to 112 donors out there. So I'm going to really focus in the next year. We're sitting about 45. Look at that, $22,000 in revenue. I can do a lot with $22,000. We're getting to a point where I can almost have another staff member come on board with my Daisy revenue, certainly a part-time person. So I'm going to work really hard on the Daisy Circle to find more donors out there who really care about us and want to support us in monthly giving, because it really goes a long way. Growth in giving is up 29%. You know what? That's what our cookie sale was going from 2021 to 2022. It was a 29% growth. It was incredible. That's a lot. Average gifts is up 38%. That means they believe in your girls. Just like they believe in the donations of 38,000 boxes to our soldiers, they also believe in you. And the average gift is up 38,000. The lifetime value is up 26,000. And right now, fingers crossed for 15 more grants out there, including a go-getter grant that I did with Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa, for showing up tomorrow down in a very hot Richland to make that presentation as well. So next slide. And look, this happened. I mentioned that this completed. It is on the top of one of our peaks out there. We don't have high peaks, but we do have peaks. It completed this week. Synergio moved on to another place, and they just had the highest marks for two things. One, our trees. You've got some good trees out here, Brian. I'm just telling you. And two, they've also got some high marks for Zane out there and for all the hard work that Zane did to be able to help us do this. It is an amazing camp. Look at youth programs in the state, the youth programs. Who out there goes and does $300,000? And not one penny of that came from cookie money. It was all from outside money and from part of it from our employee reduction credit that we got from the US government for the COVID. It all funded that. And that's going to be for your girls. We'll do a ribbon cutting in about a month. It'll be open for camp. We're in the business of doing training right now for our folks. I got a lot of questions last night, Annual for Friends, for procedures for it. We've got to figure them out, quite honestly. The first goal was to get it done in time for camp. We're going to officially dub it Savannah Summit. I know I've been calling it Savannah Sunshine. For those not familiar with Camp 4 Echoes, you got to start things with an S out there. It's just the rule of the deal. So I follow rules. Ego makes me follow rules. So we follow the rules. But I did like Sunshine. Savannah, ode to our founder, Juliet, who loved the outdoors. But it is actually on a summit. I think the name came from Zane and Ego, and I think it's an awesome name. So henceforth, going forward here, we'll dub it Savannah Summit. We'll do a ribbon cutting here in June, and it'll be officially open for business. Congratulations to this council for a place where confidence is going to be given out in buckets and steps and zip lines. It's going to be awesome for us to do. I look forward for you seeing it, Councilwoman Peets, when you can get out there. With that, I think my time is done. I'm going to turn it over to Renee. Renee, your next slide.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you all for being here. I'm going to give just a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a look back over the last year, and a snapshot of what we have in store moving forward strategically as an organization. This slide here illustrates the membership trends of Girl Scouts Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho over the last 10 years. We all know why the there was a dip in membership in 2021 when we were most affected by the pandemic. But looking at the last 3 years and moving forward into 2024, I am very proud of our membership team. As Brian said, led by Director Jody Walter, this team has worked continuously over the last 2 years, and the proof of their effort is evident in this graph. Our department directors have also worked collectively to create a membership strategy that is collaborative across all departments that we are hoping will create more supports for membership growth and retention through programming, product program support, and inclusion across all regions. The next slide shows our membership numbers currently for this membership year. We've talked a little bit about that already, and we are definitely on trend to reaching our goal. You can see here that we're less than 400 girls away from meeting our goal of giving 4,000 girls the Girl Scout leadership experience in 2023. And we are looking forward to 2025, where our ultimate goal is to have 5,000 girls. I believe that there is no reason why this team is not going to get us there. So kudos to the membership team and all of their hard work, and to all of our volunteers out there who continue to say yes to adding girls to their troop, to all of our new troop leaders this year who have taken on the role of being troop leaders, and to all of our service unit volunteers out there that support those volunteers in helping girls grow in our Girl Scout leadership experience. So thank you to everybody for all that you do for girls in our council. Next slide. Quick update on our program team. 2023 was a year of robust programming opportunities for girls all across our council. We had more campers last summer at Camp 4 Echoes and Camp Ashwell. We had a record number of girls at our winter day camp this year, and we offered programs in all 4 Girl Scout program pillars throughout the regions of our council. Looking forward, the program team will be restructuring to serve girls and volunteers in even better ways. I'm incredibly grateful for the leadership of our program team and Girl Experience Director, Katie Ibarra, who is at this moment out at camp, probably enjoying some fantastic weather and having a great time with a bunch of girls out there. But her team has been very invested in gathering feedback from our service unit and troop volunteers. And in response to that feedback, combined with the strategic objectives of our council, we are going to be refocusing our program strategy and moving away from pillar-focused staff members to regionally focused staff members. This will allow our program staff to offer more programs with less travel time and meet the needs of specific regions. So we will have dedicated staff members or dedicated program staff members to each region. And if all goes well, in our next budget season, we hope to add an additional programmer to cover more regions and also offer more programming. As Brian said, we are dedicating Crystal's time solely to adult education moving forward. And we believe that that will also help support our program team, our volunteer retention, and our girl experience. And you can go to the next slide. This, of course, is my favorite topic to report on. As all of you know, the product program is very close to my heart, and I am so thrilled to see the girls in our council become bosses of their cookie business and grow in their entrepreneurial skills over the years. As Brian mentioned, I have been here a while and through a few cookie seasons, and it has been a thrill to see girls grow in this way through this program. I have to echo all of the chat, the very, very extensive chat that took off when Brian mentioned that Caitlin will be moving on. Nobody is sadder to see her go than I am. So I completely agree with your sentiments. All of the volunteers out there know what a treasure she has been to our council and how much talent and depth she has brought to this program. So I thank her very much for her dedication and the amount of hours she worked tirelessly to develop this very, very successful program alongside her
product program team. They keep things running smoothly behind the scenes and constantly shift to meet demands and challenges at any given moment. The look at this graph demonstrates the growth in girl participation over the last 3 years. You can see that not only has our girl participation grown, but the number of girls we have registered in our council has also grown. That is obviously kudos to our membership team, to our marketing team, but also to our troop and service unit volunteers. Next slide. This is our overall sales over the last 3 years, and honestly, it's just simply amazing. We have grown exponentially over the last 3 years, and it's very exciting that this year we continue that growth trend and once again sold over 1 million boxes of cookies and got almost to 1.2 million boxes of cookies. So kudos to all of our hardworking entrepreneurs out there and all of the troop leaders and parents who support them in their efforts. Next slide. This is just a quick snapshot of girls selling by package level. So this indicates how many girls sold this level of cookies. And you can see the giant spike of girls in this council that sell over 500 packages of cookies. I love this little snapshot because I think it really highlights well just what high achieving entrepreneurs we have in our Girl Scout Council. Congratulations to all of them. And we celebrate every girl and every single box of cookies that is sold. But if you go to the next slide, we highlight here our top 5 cookie sellers of 2023. Sophie Henderson has been our top cookie seller for several years now, and she is graduating senior and will finish out her entrepreneurial cookie business career here at Girl Scouts with 5,100 boxes. Very well done, Sophie. And we appreciate all the hard work that you have given over the years, not just in selling cookies, but in mentoring young girls and showing other girls how to run a cookie business like a boss. Our second highest seller was Sierra Livingston, who is out of Post Falls, Troop 2035, and she sold 4,300 boxes. Sorry, the formatting of this slide is not fantastic, but the numbers are there. Emma Piscatello from the Spokane Valley sold 3,595 boxes. Aubriette Epps from Spokane, Service Unit 430, sold 3,560 boxes. And Helen Dormady from Ellensburg is our number 5 top seller at 3,505 boxes. Congratulations to all those girls and all the girls who sold this cookie season. Sierra Livingston sold 2,223 boxes of cookies for our Operation Troop to Troop. More than half of the cookies she sold in this cookie program went to Operation Troop to Troop, and that is an incredible accomplishment. And Sierra, we salute you for supporting our military members in such an incredible fashion. And as Brian mentioned earlier, he dropped off some cookies, some of those very cookies in Yakima this last week at an Army Training Center. We have plans to drop off cookies at Fairchild Air Force Base, and some of those cookies have already made their way into the hands of veterans and active duty military members already. So thank you all. And looking ahead for the cookie program, I already said we will be sad to see Caitlin go, but we acknowledge some of the 2023 challenges that occurred during this cookie season. We know that changing our cookie sale dates was a stretch for everybody, and opening weekend on Easter weekend was not as robust of an opening weekend as we have had in the past. But we appreciate everyone persevering, and we are very proud of the outcomes despite these potential challenges and obstacles. And lastly, I would be remiss to not acknowledge all the much conversation we've had throughout this cookie season regarding our new cookie this year, Raspberry Rally. There has been a lot of talk and reflection about this cookie at the Girl Scouts USA level, where this innovation originated from. And they too acknowledge the challenges of a new innovation, of the innovation of this cookie with a limited supply and a shipped only cookie. We are expecting official word on the way forward with Raspberry Rally sometime this week from GSUSA. But a lot of people have asked if this cookie will be an in-person cookie moving forward, and it will not be an in-person cookie moving forward. And we are anticipating that it may not be in our lineup next year, but we will get official word on that in the weeks to come. And I think that's my last slide. Thank you all.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 roads diverge in a wood, and we took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. And that was a slide of 2 years ago when we came back in person, and it has made all the difference. I do want to just echo the troop to troop support. I did do an Army event down in very hot Yakima yesterday at the Military Training Center. If you haven't been there, there's not a tree to be seen. It's an incredible place for our soldiers to train in desert conditions. But I was a 2-star general, and I was doing some of my veteran stuff that I'm called to do on occasion. But obviously I always wear the Girl Scout hat. I always got my Girl Scout tie on, and people know me as a Girl Scout guy. As soon as I start bringing out those cookies, and we filled that truck with cookies. Unfortunately, someone didn't tell me how hot it was. So some of the tag-alongs might've been a little bit melted, but those tag-alongs and those Samoas, they didn't care about the 2-star general. As soon as Brian starts rolling out cookies, guess who the center of attention is? And you all make that happen because you do all those donations. Sierra and Sophie was also over 1,000 boxes donated. That's incredible. And I appreciate the donations for our troops, our healthcare workers, and our first responders as well. Our poll results are in. I just had a few more results before I kind of finish up with a happy note here. Nancy, I'm going to just come back. If we want to go back on the slides and have Lori and Kelsey report on the results, and then I'll just finish up with my comments so we can finish with a bang, if that's okay.
Sure. But when do we need Scott to do the investiture?
Right now. Right now. So
let's,
if Lori and Kelsey want to just give the results to you, and then we'll turn it back over to Scott and finish on up.
okay, but let's do the results of the bylaw revision first.
Okay, this is Lori. Madam Chair, we have 68 votes cast. We needed 32 votes for adoption. We had 53 votes in the affirmative and 3 votes in the negative, as well as 12 illegal votes.
So parliamentarian Kevin, with those numbers, the motion is passed, correct?
The numbers are correct, except for the need for adoption is a 2/3 vote. You still made that threshold, if I recall.
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you. And now with the voting of the board of directors.
The slate of candidates, Madam Chair, we had 69 votes cast. We needed 32 votes for adoption. We had 59 votes in affirmative and 0 votes in the negative, 10 illegal votes.
Great. So the slate has been adopted.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Lori and staff, for calculating all of that. I appreciate that. And Kevin, thank you for, like I said, it's always wonderful to have a parliamentarian here when we need it, and we really appreciate your help during this meeting. So, well, with that, congratulations to our new board chair, Jennifer, and Catherine as our new vice chair, and Scott as our secretary, and our newest board members, and of course, our new girl board members. Before I turn it back to Scott for the investiture, let me first thank him for bringing us such a geographically diverse set of board members And we wish Rika Robinson the same fortune as she leads the new Board of Development Committee next year. I want to publicly thank Shelley, Cheryl, Lynn, and Michelle for their tremendous service that they have given the Girl Scouts over the past many years, and Lynn and Michelle incredibly for their long tenure during some very challenging times. I personally want to thank our girl members, and they have been a delight on our board meetings. Samantha, India, Haley, and Ella, for being such a good, strong girl voice during a pivotal year of 2022. They were such good girl members that I, as the board chair, would call on them without notice and just say, what's going on? Give us what do you think's happening out there? What should you know that we don't know? And they always spoke up and I'm very participative in the board meetings. And so I so appreciate what they have done for us. So with that, I'll turn it back to Scott for the investiture.
Great. Thank you, Nancy, and congratulations, everyone. I'm personally very pleased. So now we're going to do the investiture for our new board members and our board development committee members. So we're going to do the investiture in two parts. The first part is for the new board members and board development committee, and then a second part will be for our delegates. So I'll read the investiture out loud for all board members, new and experienced. It'd be great to hear from all of us, but let's not do that. Let's stay on mute. We'll say it together. So for the new board officers, continuing officers, directors, and the board development committee members and our girl board members. So if you'll read this aloud at home. The officers, directors, and board development committee members of the Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho pledge to direct the affairs of the council in order that the council will provide and safeguard the girls program. We will endeavor to build an organization to serve the membership, extend membership opportunities to all girls within our council jurisdiction, and provide for adequate funding to support these efforts. As individuals, we pledge to carry out the responsibilities of our position and be accountable to the council chair. We'll be available to receive from the girls and adult membership their ideas concerning the council's goals and objectives. Congratulations, board members, you are invested. So for the next part, this is for the delegate investiture. I thought it'd be nice to invite one of our delegates, service unit manager from here in Lewiston. It's Pam Westfall. Pam is on the line, and I would like her to lead the investiture. So Pam.
Okay. We, the delegates and members of Girl Scouts Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho, pledge to support the council, officers, and directors, and to communicate with them so they can effectively establish and prioritize council's goals and objectives. We will further the effectiveness of council's programs by carrying out our individual responsibilities with enthusiasm.
Thank you, Pam, and congratulations and thank you, delegates. It's critical and essential, the role that you play in keeping the council on track and moving forward. So I just wanted to wrap up. You know, I've been on board development committee for 3 years and had the honor of chairing it for 2 years. And we saw quite a bit of change during that period. 2 years ago, you, the delegates, voted in an amendment that allowed us to change the size of membership of the board of directors from 15 to 25. And that allowed us as the board development committee to diversify geographically, especially the members of the board. The areas outside of Spokane were underrepresented, places like Yakima and Wenatchee and Tri-Cities. And by increasing that number, we've really had a tremendous success in having board members. And to you, the delegates, the girls, troop members, anybody that'd be on, I'll guarantee you that any of the board members, especially in your area, if you have thoughts or ideas, reach out to them and tell them what you think and what you know, because we do come together and we vote on things, and it's our responsibilities to bring what we see locally. You know, an example, 2 years ago in Clarkston, Lewiston, the forest fires were terrible. It was really, really bad. The largest fire camp in the nation was in Clarkston, Washington. There was like 1,500 people camped on the lawn of the middle school. And I called Brian. I was telling him what was going on. The next day, we had a truck full of cookies, and Brian had no idea, but we had a truck full of cookies to share with the firefighters. And so, board members, I encourage you to spread the news of what's going on, and delegates and girls and troop leaders, please talk to your board members. And then the last thing that I really want to say is, I'm stepping down as board development chair, but I'm moving on to the secretary position. I love this council. I love the direction of this council. I've seen, how it impacts girls. I've seen how it impacts volunteers and adults, and the more you put in, it pays back tenfold the more you get out of it. The new chair for the Board Development Committee, and I think the Board Development Committee is extremely important, but a ton of fun, because you really do get to meet a lot of incredible people. But the new board chair coming in for Board Development Committee is Rika Robinson. She's based in Tri-Cities. She's super easy to talk to, super cool. And Rika, I wish you the very best of luck. And of course, I'll be a resource of anything that you do going forward. So with that, I'll give it back to you, Nancy.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you for everything that you have given the board development chair over the last 2 years. It's been wonderful to work with you, your commitment, and just appreciated everything that you have done. Again, I just want to tell you, I've been honored to be your board chair the past 2 years, and I look forward to serving as your past board chair and supporting Jennifer to see how green our numbers can become. So I'll turn it back to you, Brian, to finish your report.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the new board directors, to all those who served. Again, my salutes to you, to the girl board members. Thank you for wanting to serve. Again, we take applications in the December timeframe. I welcome Girl Scouts. We always look for 2 from Idaho and 2 from Eastern Washington. And it's a really incredible experience to see what happens. And I welcome the new board members going forward out there. We did take the road less traveled. And I know that if you know Brian well, college football is his jam. Only 3 more months until season starts again. But I know the Georgia Bulldogs, they're far away from WSU and all of our teams here, but they're the last champions here. But I think the standard still within college football is Alabama. And I hope that I'm nicer than Nick Saban, but I do appreciate the discipline that Nick Saban, and he's all about process, because this council needs to survive Renee and Brian and Sandy. It needs to. The movement is too special. And I got overly emotional last night. And I don't mean to become such a blubbering mess sometimes when talking about girls last night with the dinner with friends. But what we do is so special. And we're such a unique organization that we focus on girls. And we've been doing it now for 111 years. And Juliet had it right. And these girls that we take care of, whether it be Megan and Sophie graduating, or whether it be our newest Daisy or Brownie, Beatrix, they each matter, and we each need to give them confidence. And I hope that confidence is there. But this year, just a smattering of pictures that we did, and whether us going back to Olympia, whether we take over ice cream stands or we go to Olympia and we take over the council, the Capitol, when we're there in force. Girls, and we went there twice this year because there was such interest from our older girls. And our gold awards, I highlight our gold awards this tonight at the Lilac Parade. There'll be 75,000 girls that will see 7 girls, and they'll say, Gold Award girls, what are they? And I hope that they look them up. If they're near the intercom or where you can hear the announcements, they'll hear what they are, but many of them won't hear them. And I hope they look them up. But the bottom line, there's going to be girls getting cheered tonight, and our Gold Award girls make a difference. And I do the superheroes of the month, and I talked about the veterans and all that we do. And come to the St. Patrick's Day Spokane Parade. You want to see Girl Scouts show in force. We take over a city block with how many Girl Scouts come to that parade. And the fashion show showed what a distinguished history that we have. and World Thinking Day there with Ukraine and our support for Ukraine. And one of the booths did Ukraine there, and the sunflower and the girls' hair. And certainly our STEM mobile will never be far from my mind on when we go. That's Claire there pulling her hair out. One of my favorite slides. That's what I'm doing. That's why I have all white hair now. But it is absolutely an honor to be your CEO and getting to interact with these girls as much as I do. Yeah, my wife doesn't really get to see me very much, but you are my family, and it's very, very special. And she understands that, and she sees how happy I am when I come home to see every Girl Scout, how you make a difference in me. And it's a privilege to be there. And I'll finish up with Cassie White, who's also graduating this year. They sold cookies at the WC ball game. They sold a lot of cookies. That's a good place to sell cookies. That's where we went over 1 million last year. But Cassie got to throw out that pitch. To put a girl on the mound and to throw out the pitch, that's just confidence. That's what Girl Scout gives you, whether it be leading a pledge in front of a city council or throwing out a pitch. That's what Girl Scouts is going to give the opportunity. I know that high schoolers probably don't think it's cool to be a Girl Scout, but we know we're cool. And we have the processes and the procedures and the discipline of Alabama football to continue to be champions year after year after year. So I tell you what, if you want to go ahead and advance it again, we power ourselves through the cookie program. I appreciate all that you did. 1 million cookie boxes. We spent a good amount of money to send this patch out to you all. Renee reminds me about that quite a bit, but each of you deserve that patch. Each of you volunteered this patch. I thank Jess for making this patch. It matches Caitlin's patch last year, the yellow patch, but I look forward to seeing pink on the back of our girls and being proud of us being a $1 million cookie council, because it's what we do. It is absolutely apropos that in less than 48 hours, we're going to have product sales folks here from all over the country. And I love to get up and brag, but I also don't like to get up and brag. And it's going to be a really fine line for us, because a lot of them, they're going to be like, what's your PGA? And I don't know. Do you want to tell them that we're 458? I don't know. It's 200 more than the rest of the nation. You want to tell them that we had a 30% growth in cookie sales 2 years ago? I don't know. I'm just going to be in the room and tell them that I appreciate my staff and I appreciate they would do Girl Scouts. I'll let Caitlin and Renee figure out how much they want to brag. But you know what? Our girls are the best in America. And I will always, always stand by that. That's a colonel's promise to each and every one of you. Thank you very much, Council, for being a council of distinction. Thank you, Nancy and Jennifer, for leading us to new heights. We got some more runway to go ahead of us, and we're going to keep going. The last thing I'm going to show you here before we open it up, and we're going to have a few minutes if you have questions. You can type them in now if you'd like, or you can raise your hand and we'll have time. We're going to have a few minutes also to talk about delegates, and then we're going to close out the annual meeting. And I hope that you stay on right now. We're actually holding our audience pretty good. Actually, I didn't lose too many people. Nancy, you can take note of that for my review here in a month. I didn't lose too many people there over my comments, but we're going to recognize we had a record number of volunteer recognitions this year, and that's a lot of good news to end on. So I hope that you can stay behind at the end of this. It looks like we'll be ending on time here today. But I always like to show a video. I showed a video last night, got very teary-eyed, so I'm pinching myself right now so I can be a little more professional for you. Let me make my tie a little tighter here as we finish on up. But last year, if you remember, I did the John F. Kennedy, We're Going to the Moon on 5,000 girls. That's still where we're going. We're still going there. I had Clement Lai, who's Troop 2014 Proud Dad, and he does work. So if you want to consult him to do as well. But I like to do videos because I like to celebrate what we do. I like music and I like that here. And we're about ready to show this video. But this one was an easy one. I just said 2023 was a great year. 2023 was a great year. Clement, just go show them how that these girls are our superheroes. And one more thing before you start. Last weekend, I was down at my son's graduation down at University of Southern California. And the guest speaker was from Marvel Studios. So he's talking about superheroes and Spider-Man and all this other kind of stuff. I was just sitting in the back. I was in the very back, so very far away. Well, I said, I'll tell you some superheroes. I got Girl Scouts up there. They actually fly. I give them capes once a month. They fly. So we got superheroes and we don't need special effects to do it. And they get donations of 40,000 boxes to our superheroes. So they are to our superheroes, our troops. So let me tell you who are superheroes. But at the very end, He goes, you know, superheroes always have catchphrases. And for us, our catchphrases have been believe 2 years ago, believe we can do it. And last year was we can. And he goes, you know what? This is a great catchphrase for superheroes. And so he said this word. And I said, you know what? That's our catchphrase. Because we are a force of good and we are on the march. And his phrase was assemble. So I am stealing that catchphrase from him. So Girl Scouts, let's assemble and make the world a better place. Roll it.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under screens, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you know that there's still a chance for you? 'Cause there's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em why you work. Make 'em go as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make 'em go you're gonna leave 'em all in there. You don't have to feel like the wasted space. You're original, cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds. After a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe a reason why all the doors are closed, so you could open one that leads you to the perfect road. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will glow, and when it's time, you know you just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em why you work. Make 'em go as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make 'em go you're gonna leave 'em all in there. So fast for me, right now I'm looking at you, and I can't believe you don't know. You don't know you're beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful. Well, you done me, and you bet I felt it. I tried to beat you, but you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest, and nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. Well, open up your mind and see like me. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. I look into your heart and you'll find love, love, love. magic of the moment, people dance and sing. We're just one big family, and it's our God-forsaken right to be loved, 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 loved. So there's no need to complicate. Our time is short. This is our fate. I'm yours. Do 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 do. Do you want to come on? Scooch on over closer, dear, and I will nibble your ear.
Myself. Suddenly I'm up on top of the world. Should have been somebody else. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not.
Nice job, Clement. Nice job, Clement. Tearing me up again. Thank you very much, Clement Live, for that great video. And you Girl Scouts, you are the heroes for us, and you can fly. And I appreciate the drone vintage from Brad Moore, one of our staff members, husband, who gives us that. You did it. That's you. That's you, each of you. And while you might not have been in the slideshow or not, and I'll send it out next week's Fab 5 as a video link if you want to see it again. I know it's sometimes on Zoom doesn't come out or as well. I appreciate it as well. Yeah, this fashion show was in Sweets Before Supper. It was our keynote. It makes me sad because I don't know how we'll ever have a better keynote. There's a video of it as well. You can send me a note. I'll send you the video of it. But it was really, really great out there as well. So at this point, we're just going to pause for a moment and just see if there's any questions. I had a couple questions last night on a couple different issues. The board is available to you as well. It's not just the CEO. The board and me, we have time. We're on schedule right now. I am going to open it up for 5 minutes to Jennifer and Deb to talk about the NCS proposals, but we're sitting right now with 20 minutes. So if there's any questions, please open it up either in the chat or just come up, raise your hand and unmute, and we'll go from there. Over to you, Council of Distinction. Any questions? I see a lot of thank yous, and I appreciate it very much. All the comments and everything that you all do. Well, we have time for some more questions, so I'm going to advance to the next slide. I'm going to open it up to Deb and Jennifer just to briefly talk, and then we'll see if you have any other questions that come up after that. They're going to just talk briefly about, I want to thank each of these delegates. It's actually been a lot of work. Valerie talked about the delegate education early on, our national board member. It's actually been going on for the last month. It's been a lot. It's been a lot for me, and these are all volunteers. Thank you to our national delegates, Jennifer and Deb, representing on the adult, and Elizabeth Bedard and Madeline. Elizabeth's from OMAC. Madeline is from Tenasset, representing us on the girls. Our alternate is Levita from the Coeur d'Alene area, Samantha Cutter from the West Plains, and Alex Swenson from the West Plains as well. They've all been involved in this. What you're going to see happen in the next month is we're going to have Zoom calls that talk about each of these events. We'll wildly publicize them both on the program Facebook page as well as my Fab 5. We'll get them out there. If you're a delegate, I really encourage you to come. Last time we did this in 2020, there weren't many delegates that come, but some of these proposals, particularly the I Try one, is a big deal. And we want each of our 4 votes to count. And so we want to hear from you because it's not their opinion, it's your opinion. And so we want to hear from you. So we'll get 3 Zoom calls because we're going to the whole council. that our girls, as well as our Deb and Jennifer, will lead. And we just want to hear from you and see what you want. I'm not a voting member. I'm just an advisor. I give my seat up so to the board chair, and I give my seat up to a girl so that she can go in my stead, because I believe in my girls, and that's where I stand. So with that, over to you. Thank you, delegates, for all the hard work. Over to you to Jennifer and Deb. You can go to the next slide.
Hi, thank you, Brian. We really do encourage all of you guys to come and let us know exactly how you feel on each of these proposals, and we're going to go through them real quick. The first proposal that we're looking at is allowing the possibility of virtual attendance for the National Council session and for special sessions of the National Council. The proposal, making the sole discretion of the National Board that any National Council session may be held in whole or in part by means of the internet or electronic communications technology. The attendance through such means shall constitute presence in person as such meeting for quorum and voting purposes. The worry is the electronic sessions would not create the same experience for dialogue, communication, and interaction with other members. The second proposal is to amend the Girl Scout promise in law to use more potent, actionable language. This is the one that Brian has mentioned. Proposal is that the preamble of the Constitution of Girl Scouts of the United States of America will be amended to delete the words try, to, and do my best to insert the word will. The proposed change of the Girl Scout promise in law was inspired by Troop 2923. American women try to diminish the power of their own communications through word choices like "it's my opinion, but." Further, women's habitual resistance to self-promote leads them to interject phrases like "I hope to" or "I would like to," as opposed to using declarative, deliberate language like "I will." Individuals who use impactful language to clarify articulate ideas and goals are more likely to receive an interview and be promoted and find success.
The third proposal is changing the formula for delegates. And this proposal would strike the number 3,500, and I'll explain this a little bit further, in every place where it occurs, and replace it with the number 1,000. And by striking the word no and replacing it with the word as close to. So currently, the formula for delegates is that each local council will have 2 delegates, 1 additional delegate for up to 3,500 girls, and 1 additional delegate for every 3,500 girls thereafter. This proposal changes the 3,500 girls to 1,000 girls. And the reason for that, the intent is to keep the total number of delegates the same, but because there is nationally a decline in number of girls, this allows that to happen more easily. Let's see, timing of delegate allotment. I think that's yours, Deb. Deb?
Yes, she will also go over the council representation on the national board.
Yes, there is a proposal to have that right now the National Board of Directors should consist of the president, the vice president, the secretary and treasurer, and 25 members at large. Chair of the National Board Development Committee, if not already elected to the National Board, shall be ex officio member of the National Board. The proposal is to have at least 3 of those 25 at-large members be council executives. And a council executive shall be defined as a person currently employed by a chief executive officer of a chartered Girl Scout council who meets the criteria. So the rationale behind this proposal is that would allow better alignment, better communication. Concerns are that maybe there are other ways to do this besides having 3 chief executives on that as members at large. I'll do the one on the DEIOJ. And this is a proposal put forth by the National Board to add the phrase anti-racism to several sections. So currently the words diversity and pluralism are used. Girl Scouts advance diversity and pluralism in our movement and the communities in which we live. The proposal is to Girl Scouts advance diversity, pluralism, and anti-racism in our movement and in the communities for which we live. So not changing any actions, but just verifying that that is a priority of Girl Scouts USA. Deb?
I apologize for going out of order. Our next one is the constitutional amendment on the timing of delegate allotment. The proposed change would be the timeline each council would be notified as to the number of delegates that would be representing NCS. The change would give each council an additional year to prep, educate, and along with retain our delegates for 1 year following the convention. The last is the Girl Scouts Gold Award Scholarship Fund. The proposal that the National Council hereby affirms their recommendation of the Movement Gold Award Scholarship Foundation Task Force to create a donor-restricted fund in support of the Gold Award scholarships. The task force included that although the foundation would be technically feasible, a donor-restricted scholarship would be the most effective and nimble way to support the goals of 2020 proposal, and recommended that in the recognition of the fund's significance to retain visibility of the fund, that the existence of such funds be reflected in the Blue Book.
And I think that concludes the session proposals.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, we'll get the word out in multiple levels, and even through the service unit managers to the delegates. I really ask the volunteers, and we're staying strong right now at over 100 people on this call, and I appreciate it here as we come to the end. But I encourage you to talk to your girls. I'm very, very curious on your thoughts on the promise and law. I am a traditionalist. You know that that's who I am as a military officer, and very traditional. So changing the promise and law gives me great fear. But I am also a child of the 80s, as you saw with the Greatest American Hero, their song at the end. That's the TV series that I grew up on. And I am also a fan of Yoda. And I don't think that there's any try. I think it's do or do not. And so I'm really torn on this one, on what the right answer is. And so, again, our 4 votes are not going to be the difference maker on it, but we want our girls to reflect it, and they'll have their own opinions as well. So I encourage you to talk to your girls about it, see where they come, and either answer is okay. We can retain or we can move on. And I'm really happy. I'm looking forward to the floor discussion on this one. The other ones matter there as well. But this one is the one that really intrigues me, and I could go both ways on it. And so I'm going to let the girls and Deb and Jennifer decide, but I encourage you to come. So there'll be 3 Zoom sessions. I hope you come, listen to them. There'll be more on that. Thanks again, Deb, for Jennifer, for what you do. It has been a lot of work over the last month for all the delegates to really be engaged on that. And we just got the workbooks this week. Lori's going to be mailing them out on Monday. So you delegates will be getting them here shortly. So we'll look here. Any other comments here at the end? I don't see any. I'll go one last call out. Any other questions for me or my staff or the board? We will talk about your feedback. I appreciate Keela, the feedback on the annual meeting, and Sue and others that you had. We heard it loud and clear. Again, you passing the amendment just gives us the flexibility to do what you want, but I hope that you trust in me to find the operations way to execute your vision. But at the June board meeting, we'll carve out a section for the board to talk about it, and they're my bosses, and I'll listen to what they have to say, and we'll make the right decision for next year. I feel like next year will be a hybrid meeting, and then we'll go from there. I don't know if I have the ability to do it for multiple spots. That's a challenge, but again, we're right now, I've got another 11 months until I get there, so give me a chance. I'm a dreamer. You know, I just dreamed on this Savannah Summit and it's complete. So, you know, I'm dreaming other things. One of the things I'm dreaming about is renovations out at Camp Four Echoes. That's another area of focus we need to do. It's great that we have an e-ticket ride. Again, a homage to Walt Disney World in the 1980s. We have an e-ticket ride out there, but it's also important for us to keep what we have out there strong. So we'll be looking at renovations out there, but you know, I'm always dreaming. And one of the things that I would like to do is have a dream room. Maybe our hostel here becomes a dream room where girls can come and camp. We totally renovate the indoors, so where even in the middle of the winter, girls can come and have a camping experience in a dream room, something that can do that. And you know what? If we get to 5,000 girls, we're going to have the resources that maybe I go rent another space down in Tri-Cities and I have a dream room down there. These are all things that are not on paper yet, but Brian's always thinking, because that's what Brian's paid to do, is think what the next dream is for Girl Scouts. Because I'll tell you, you make my dreams come true. And with that, I don't see anything else out there. I will just give one last standing order as Jessica Chadwick so eloquently said on chat. Girl Scouts, assemble. Back to you, Nancy, to pass the gavel over.
Great. Well, thank you, Brian. And thank you all to the delegates for taking time to celebrate this democratic process. It's so important, and appreciate everybody's comments and inputs and ideas today. We so appreciate that. Thank you to the departing board members for all the work and time that you gave. Welcome new board members and girl board members. You're going to have so much fun. We value you and we look forward to working with you, and we really look forward to the future. And speaking of the future, as my final act as board chair, I will pass the gavel on to Jennifer as the new board chair and wish her, I'm like Brian, I might cry myself. Wish her much success and fun.
Well, Nancy, thank you. And just one more time, congratulations to you. You have been in charge of this council for 2 of the most successful years it's ever had, and we should all thank you and be grateful to you for that. So thank you. Everyone, I am honored. I consider it such a privilege to lead this board for the next 2 years. I believe so strongly that experiences young girls have so contribute to great experiences that they can have and great opportunities later in life. So it's going to be my mission to do everything that I can to help our board, support Brian, support the staff, support the volunteers, and most of all, support the girls, and make Girl Scouts the very best it can be, and get those numbers to 4,000 to 5,000 and keep this thing growing as it has been. So I appreciate your confidence in me, and I will do everything I can to earn that. Please know that following this meeting, Brian is going to congratulate our national and council award recipients for 2023. Again, we celebrate all of you today for what you did to give us a year of the girl experience the past year. On that high note, being that there was no further business, the annual meeting of the Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho is hereby adjourned.
Thank you all. Thank you all. And thank you again for the feedback. I appreciate it on the annual meeting. It is absolutely noted. Well, with that, the annual meeting is concluded. I hope that you can hang on here. We have a lot of awards to give out here. I will be brief. Nancy, if you have the ability to stay just a little bit longer, we had a quick ceremony we wanted to do in person to thank you for your celebration. So if you're able to hang on through this annual awards, I would appreciate it. If you can go ahead and bring the slideshow back up. I know you're tired of the slideshow, but it's easiest to see them in visual because I'll move through here real quick. If you can bring the slideshow back up. Thank you, Kevin, for what you did. Thank you for being here today to help us out. And again, great job to Clement in the video, and Tammy is right there with Clement as the associate producer of that video here as well. So you can move ahead to the board section here, and I am so excited. There's going to be a lot of happy people out there. But before I do it, I don't know if the Wenatchee clan is out there right now. They probably are, but this is the first ever for us to do this. So Gabby Whitman, Troop 1831, Wenatchee, was home. She has a younger brother, Tyler, 8, and dog Bowser, and they were at home. And she was playing the clarinet, and they heard the smoke alarms, and so they went out, and she went into her parents' room, and she saw that a watch had caught fire, and that was causing a fire in their house. And so what did she do? She called Dad, and Dad said, call 911 and leave. Gabby was so composed as an incredible Girl Scout that she went and had her brother get the leash to put it on Bowser, because we all care about our animals. And then she said, you know what? Dad said to do this. We are going to call 911. But you know what? I went to a fire station a couple years ago, and I learned how to do the fire extinguisher. So she went in, she grabbed her fire extinguisher. She says that she had a hard time remembering all the steps, but she felt like she could do it. And in the heat of the moment, she got it working. And she says here, I quote, I looked at the fire as I was aiming a Nerf gun, and I aimed at the fire, and I sprayed it until I could no longer see any orange, red, or colors of the fire. I don't know how I managed to carry it. It was very, very heavy, but carry it she did. Just like every one of our Girl Scouts 5 years up and all carry this council forward, and she did it. So Alana and the Wenatchee Service Unit put in a Medal of Honor with National and do some idiosyncrasies, and I'm actually going to appeal it, Gabby out there, because I just don't quite know if they saw the full outstanding bravery that you showed. I mean, again, you could leave, but she didn't. She marched to the sound of the guns. And as Battalion Chief Jordan Given said, recognize her for outstanding bravery for extinguishing a fire in the home before fire personnel could arise. You might not think it was a big deal because it was a small fire, but I got to tell you, had this fire been allowed to grow, it would have gotten a lot bigger and caused a lot more damage. Yep, Lindsay, you're right. You go, girl. Gabby, you did it. So I'm going to work to see whether or not we can have the official Medal of Honor from Girl Scouts National given to you. But in the meantime, guess what? Today, as I gave to you last night, the rule still stands that you are awarded our first ever Girl Scouts Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho Medal of Honor for all that you did to not only save your brother, to save your household, but to save Bowser. I appreciate you being a girl of courage, confidence, and character, and all that you did. Thank you, Gabby. I look forward to coming out there and giving you this medal in person. Congratulations. And with that, now we're going to move on to an incredible amount of awards here. I apologize if you can go ahead and advance the next slide. I apologize if I get names wrong. I will do the best I can. We have both council award recipients and we have national award recipients. You are free right after this meeting to go nominate up here. We have an august committee led by Tirza, mostly volunteer led from volunteers around our council. Just because you put it in doesn't mean you're going to get it. In fact, I had some nominations not make it across the finish line. So every nomination is thoroughly looked at. And sometimes if the criteria doesn't seem right, they might nominate you for a different award. But in the end of the day, we are so honored that every year in the last 3 years, we've been able to nominate over 50 council of recognitions. And this year is no different, which, as I said, this is as many as we've ever had. So starting it out for a council award recipients here is the Innovation Award. Congratulations. You just heard from Deb Ornalis. She's not only one of your council delegates, she's also now the 2023 Innovation Award for all that she does with troop travel and everything else down in her West Plains. She gives trips for girls across this world, and she makes it available for much more than her own girls. Very, very special, Deb. Thank you. Novice of the Year Award. With all the new troops out there that Alex is wondering, there's a lot of novices out there, and we needed to give it to more than just one. Thank you, committee, for letting us do that. Incredible. Meredith Britton, Sarah Coe, Stephanie Fredericks, Jillian Looney, Amanda Mann, and Melissa Shorter. Next slide. Our dynamic duos. Wow. Teamwork makes the dream work. There are some incredible ones out there. Rachel Neeser, Jeffrey Latner. Carly Rader, Aaron Erdahl, Lori Thompson, Cora Johnson, Stacy Huss, Alicia Peterson, Stephanie Fredericks, Christina Griffin, Chelsea Burright, Aaron Burright, Trinity and Candace Livingston, Danielle Kishubi, Amber Chavez, Jesse Story and Renee Nielsen, who I saw last night. Congratulations to each of you for being our duos and making the dream work. Our next slide. In the Shadows Award, one of the most special ones to you. We couldn't do it without you. Bruce Asplin, Raylan Barden, Jason Bader, Don Larson, Dakota Livingston, Megan Marion, Chris Olson, and Sarah Robertson. We thank you for all that you do out there. Spirit Award. Taya Barnes, Jenna Binakarowski, Kata Davey, Carol Dormady, who I saw on Wednesday, Robin Henderson, Talitha Parsons, Alicia Pleasant. Congratulations to ECU for all that you do. Next slide. Community awards. They're not here. I promise you, I will make an effort to get out to each of these folks to thank them for all that they do. Alex Lopez and Jared Valovich at Delivery Express, AmeriGroup, Bill Pogue and Skyline Adventures, Copple Road Storage, Dalton Gardens Church of Christ, Hepner Molds and Scott Livingston, Kiwanis of Spokane, OMAC Chamber of Commerce, and the Spokesman Review. I will tell you, most of these were nominated by others. I do a lot of community awards. I love this, that we're all recognizing those community partners. So next year, please keep the community awards coming in. This really makes me happy to see this slide of all the incredible partners out there and all that they're doing. Next slide. Volunteer recognition, team member of the year. And I will get these slides out. I will have a link in next week's Fab Five as well. And Tammy and I will work on Facebook posts as well, because each of you are very important as well. So you will see this again. Team member of the year, Amy Ball, Jenny Johnson, Ashley Newbill here this morning leading the legend ceremony, Nicole Pollock, who I also saw in Ellensburg, Jennifer Schulk, Jessica Rush, Aaron Erdahl, Jessica Varang. Thank you very much for being team members of the year and being part of helping your leaders do what you got to do. The Daisy Award for our graduating seniors. Thank you very much for honoring them. Samantha Cutter, Ellie Saunders, Kyoko Fisher, Anna Brem, Mackenzie Goodsell, Linnea Erickson, Sierra Livingston, Madeline Brown, and Sophie Henderson. Each of our graduating seniors are Daisy Awards in my book, and I appreciate all that you do, girls. I'm looking forward to you making the world a better place. The Izzy Award. We're an outdoor council. We're a STEM council. We're an outdoor council. We're a cookie council. We do it all. That's why our Girl Scouts rock. The Izzy Award to those that make the outdoor adventure so special. Jessica Swenson, what an amazing outdoor experience you gave our girls in the winter time frame, no less. And Candy Ross. Congratulations to two of our Izzy Award winners this year. Next slide. And finally, this is a lot of writing here. When you look at this slide, not only should you honor each one of these volunteers, but realize there's not only individual writers nominating, there's a lot of endorsers. So this is a lot of typing that has happened for each of these. And each of these national award recipients deserves this. And again, it's a very high bar that our committee puts through for each one of these to be recognized. So congratulations to our national award recipients. I'm going to start from the outside and work inside. The President's Award, Service Unit 406, our Meade service unit that we've been talking a lot about today. Our appreciation pin, Lori Thompson, Beth Marsh. Honor pin, Shirley Roberts Downey. Congratulations to each of you for being national award recipients. What you get with this high honor for both council awards and national awards is you get a letter signed by me and Jennifer, but you also will get some kind of accoutrement or pin. Those are in the mail. not to you, but to us. We will eventually get them. And sometime this summer, I pledge to you to get you these pins for you all. It is very difficult to get these pins from National, and Kelsey's working very hard to get them, and we will get them to you and present them to you. Look at our volunteers of excellence. Stephanie Bedard, with your volunteer award, look what you started up there in OMAC. It's spread everywhere. We have a lot of volunteer of excellence awards. This is the most we've ever had. Kendra Caton, Elise Duncan, Levita Grin, also a delegate for us, an alternate. Alana Hegman, Robert Henderson, Scott Henderson, Deborah Morris, Rich Ortega, Deb Osler, and Tanya Smith. Congratulations to each of you for what you have done. And I will tell you, there's one category that's not up there. My second favorite category after In the Shadows is Angel and Green. I think we have a lot of angels out there in our council. We did have nominations for them, but they actually got upgraded to other areas. And so, for example, Rich Ortega is one who was nominated as an Angel of Green and upgraded to Volunteer of Excellence. And so I appreciate the volunteer committee for all that they do to do what they can, but we definitely have angels and greens out there. And last, but certainly not least, thanks badge 1, Alicia Pleasant. We couldn't do what we do out there without you. You have been so incredible in what you do in the Kennewick area, whether it be having girls on no notice go down and meet the mayor, or having your own cookie rallies where for all of Tri-Cities, not just Kennewick, where it's not good enough to do just one. You have to do 3, and you find the volunteers to do it. And all I have to do is just show up and lead some cheers, and you've got the rest. It's pretty incredible what you do down there. Thanks badge 1 is definitely what you deserve out there as well. And finally, our thanks badge 2, the highest award that we can give, other than the Medal of Honor, the first time we've given that today. I would submit to you that is also our highest award for Gabby. But thanks badge 2 is the highest that we can do. Michelle Young isn't here right now. I honestly was able to go and present to her just not but a week ago out at her company Itron in front of all of her bosses and all of her board of directors to give her the badge 2 to her. Very, very special moment that we will honor her for the 13 years of service, for leading with Pam 1, and for hiring me, and for giving us this ride that Nancy Fike has kept us on. And another legend out there, I'm surprised she hasn't gotten it already, but Marie Clark from our Yakima area, without which we would not have Girl Scouts out in Yakima. Thanks are not enough for what you've all done, but thanks to each and every one of you for all that you've done here. It has been incredible for each of you to be here today. Kelsey, do you have it queued up? Since we're going down to Citrus Council here today, I just wanted to go ahead and thank each and every one of you for being part of this, for all that you do. And since we're going down to Citrus Council, I thought we'd just end with the Girl Scout anthem because we're a sisterhood. Thank you for letting me be an honorary sister here for the last 5 years. Girl Scouts assemble. Go ahead and play the video. And if you don't have it ready, Kelsey, it's fine. I'll just give a salute. I'll
It's
sing
coming,
and
Brian,
dance.
1 minute or less.
Okay. That's better than me singing and dancing. Very much so. We weren't able to load it into the slides, but I appreciate it. It was, here we go. It's a sisterhood.
One rolling.
I was singing with my 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 troop in perfect harmony. My Girl Scout sisters singing with me. We're here to change the world, starting with every girl. Together we'll raise our voices high, leading with heart and mind, and know that Girl Scouts can do anything at any time. was singing with my troop in perfect harmony. My Girl Scout sisters singing with me. We're here to change the world, starting with every girl. Together we'll raise our voices high, leading with heart and mind, and know that Girl Scouts can do anything at any time. I was singing with my troop in perfect harmony. My Girl Scout sisters singing with me. We're here to change the world, starting with every girl. Together we'll raise our voices high, leading with heart and mind, and know that Girl Scouts can do anything at any time.
Hey, Girl Scouts.
We're the Citrus Singers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like our videos, subscribe to our
We'll be down there in Citrus, 90 degrees in the shade, 100% humidity. We're ready for it. Hey, that's a wrap, but thanks for hanging in there with me. I just wanted to finish with the Citrus area because it's so beautiful. We can do anything. We really can. And our girls can as well. I showed it to the ladies last night at the dinner with friends, and several, a couple man enough to be a Girl Scout gentleman joined us too. But for our NCS shirt that we're going to be walking around in, it's got GSEWNI on it. Do you know what it's got on the top? Council of Distinction. And they're going to walk around. They're like, why are you a Council of Distinction? We're going to say, come on up to the Pacific Northwest. Check us out. Girl Scouts assemble. God bless you all. We'll see you out there on the front lines. Take care, everybody. You make the world a better place.